Hey everybody, welcome to MenAreSpeaking. I am again joined by Lady O'Linden. Hey Lady O'Linden, how are you?
Hey, I'm glad to be back.
Good deal, good deal. So it's been a week. What have you been doing this week?
Um, it feels like everything and nothing at the same time.
Isn't that life, isn't it?
Yeah. What about you?
The good. I enjoyed putting together this presentation for
Mhm.
today. I was slapping that together this morning over like 3 or 4 cups of coffee. Just
Ooh.
cranked it out. I felt like I was back in my sales position again. Uh, Yep. And today we're going to try and sell women on a new type of lifestyle. Um,
Mm,
I
okay.
would I want to know just off the jump, what is your impression of how ladies have lived their lives in the last, I don't know, 50 years? I guess you call it modernity, right? Is
Yes,
modern age.
the modern woman.
What do you think?
Um, it's hard to say because I think in that time there's been a major shift in which
Hmm.
some were still doing it more traditionally. Um, if especially if we focus on like the last maybe 20 or 30 years, especially so, I'd
Mm,
say there's a lot more workforce involvement, a lot less, tending to the home, taking care of the kids, at least as a primary sort of thing. I know I grew up middle class in suburbia, and
as we, as a lot of us did. That's the
exactly,
American way.
basically, sadly. But, I know my friends and at my house, it was pretty common if you go to someone's house and they have kids, they'd be like, they just apologize for how the house looks because no one's home enough to keep it clean. But we all had that. We all had messy houses but all of us had both of our parents working because we couldn't afford our houses for multiple kids that each have their own room or whatever. I mean, it was only usually two kids, but regardless, um, unless both parents worked, and even then it could get tight. And so
Mm,
I think that's probably the biggest sort of thing, as well as women being more less inclined to pretty themselves up and be ladylike, instead
hmm hmm.
dropping their standards of how they should behave.
Yeah, they're kind of becoming like men.
Exactly, and it's not good.
It, I the one thing I'll definitely say is
Hmm.
if women want to have it all and men want to have it all, it's possible. It's actually, I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's a grind, right?
Hmm.
But I'd say in the West, I don't know what happened. Maybe it was the baby boomer years, post-war years, where everything was kind of easy, cheap, quick,
Maybe.
and getting better and better and better all the time.
Hmm.
Uh, the West is going to need to have a culture shock, I think, to make this work. But
It
it
might be
can totally
coming.
work. It might be coming. It might also just disintegrate us too. Like a culture shock can
I
either get
mean,
you up and going and make you, I don't know, double down on succeeding, or it'll make
mhm.
you just crumble and retreat. And
Sure, but there'll be people left over to go on from it and live their lives, so,
oh, there
it'll be
always
a
will
win
be.
for someone.
There always will be. Yes. But the thing I want to do is I don't want, a
Mhm.
lot of people want to go backwards, right? And I'll talk
Yeah,
about that in the presentation a bit. They want to like return. They want to go
I've
backwards,
done that myself, so
but going backwards just leads back to here anyway. So it's like you're not really forestalling it. You're just
okay,
dooming yourself
well
to this cycle of no, it does. And funny thing is, people will think about traditional, and then they'll cite like the
mhm.
1950s housewife, which was a lifestyle that lasted about 30 years. So I'd hardly call that a tradition. That's one generation.
Sure, but if you go back in time to certain points, I know my particular point when I was in the born in the wrong age or whatever was always the Victorian era. Um, wouldn't there be opportunities to take different paths for different end results of the present, future, whatever you want to call it? I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to end up in the exact same way.
Well, it doesn't. It doesn't. But I mean, there's always different paths.
Yeah.
Uh, but when you have a good thing,
Mhm.
it's better to preserve the good thing than to roll the
Right.
dice again and see what you get. Because most of the
Fair.
time, you're not going to
Okay.
turn out right. Like if you just destroyed Western civilization right now, and
Ooh.
just started it all back from the Roman era or something, right? Like you all decide to
But
become
only the
neo
West?
Romans. Say what?
Oh, but only the Western world?
Yeah, I'm only talking about the Western world.
Oh, I
The
thought you meant like the rest would still be modern, but except for the Western world. I'm like, that's an interesting thought experiment right there.
well, that's yeah. But if you did that, you'd probably end up. I mean, you could have the entire West end up
Mhm.
as just Eastern Europe, right? Like
Mhm.
the English way of life was very rare, and there were
Yeah.
very specific circumstances that allowed it, and it didn't have to be that way.
Right. Right.
which means, humans will kind of edge towards more self-interested things. I don't think that's controversial to say. And
Yeah.
there were a lot of non-self-interested people that really proverbially fell on their sword to make Western civilization as great as it is.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't have to be there and they didn't have to show up then. And they might not be
Interesting.
here again next time. You know what I mean?
That
Like,
makes sense. Don't know much at all in terms of the history of it. In fact, I know only in the past few years have I developed an appreciation
mhm.
for that English culture that developed the
Oh
modern
yeah.
West into what it is. I didn't even realize before.
And we
So,
yeah, me too. And you can thank the Lotus Eaters for that. So they're
yes,
doing God's
indeed.
work. But again, like traditions are built by preserving the good
Mhm.
and then moving forward. Traditions are actually a pretty progressive thing, in my opinion. They take all of the good parts of what they have right then, they preserve those things, and then they allow the dice to roll again over the bad things.
Mhm.
You try something new. When something's not working, you try something new. Take
Hmm.
for example the tradition of engineering. Like we've
Yeah.
been engineering for 8,000 years,
Mhm.
and probably it's one continuous tradition from first mastabas in Egypt,
Yeah.
all through the pyramids, all through up to Roman aqueducts, all the way to making steel bridges, to making airplanes, to making spaceships. It's
Mhm.
we, but there were a lot of missteps too, right? But
Well, yes.
we have to preserve the good stuff, the stuff that actually worked. Like there's a million harebrained things going, but if you preserve just a few things that are good,
Mhm.
I guess what I'm trying to say is that making a tradition that lasts is not about destroying modernity or whatever is the version of modernity of the day. It's about
Mhm.
more about preserving. And that's what the baby boomers
Oh.
actually screwed up, in my opinion, is that they were on a path of destruction
Mhm.
and not a path of preservation. And I don't want to
That
follow
makes
in
sense,
that
I
path
think.
of destruction. I want to follow in a path of preservation. So this
Right.
this little sales pitch is actually my attempt to preserve all of the good things about modernity,
Okay.
um, and move forward. So let's,
Well,
without
let's
further
see
ado,
if you'll get any buyers.
hopefully I'll sell you on it. I want to see what your reaction is. So,
All right. Ooh,
all right,
orange.
and it wouldn't be a sales pitch without good music. Here we go. There we go. All right, welcome, new woman. It's on how women can have it all. All right. So first off, I'm not here to judge anyone's lifestyle. I'm not here to tell you how to live. I'm here to propose
Mhm.
to you a possible solution to how things could be, right? And don't think of me as some member of the red-pilled manosphere that's here to tell women to get, to do this or that. I'm actually going to go over what those guys are like in this presentation.
Well, there
Think of
is a lot
me
of red
as
around you, though.
there's a lot. There's just enough red, just enough red. Not
Just
many
enough.
not in pill form.
Fair enough then.
I'm not secret red pills. Think of me as like a member of your family. I'm trying to do this in your best interests. Maybe I'm off the mark. Maybe I'm like that silly grandpa that says, "Oh, won't you find a nice husband?" He means well, okay? He means well. Don't be too mad at him, okay?
Right.
Now, men, I also have stuff for you in here, okay? So this is strategies of how you can have it all, have what you want. And
Mhm.
really, men don't really want that much. So you guys are easy. You guys are easy. You basically just all right. Women, the nature of women, expectations. So women's are creatures of expectation, and that derives from the fact that they have a sort of social, tribal herd instinct, which is able to transcend their own individual tastes, individual
Mhm.
wisdom. Collectivism and collective thought tends to be a better survival strategy than striking it out on your own all the time.
Right.
Think of yourself as like an animal in a herd, right? Sometimes the herd is going someplace dangerous,
Yes.
but it's way more dangerous to just go off and do whatever you want. So women having a higher biological investment, right, in terms of reproduction, they got this
Right.
big burden on them.
You can't gamble too much, yeah?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, men do all the gambling. Men just die for fun. It's like, man, remember that time he jumped off the roof and died? Here's a beer, pour one out for him. Whereas a woman did that, it'd be like a tragedy. We all got to stop
Yeah,
it, make sure it
yeah.
never happens again. Put nets out. I don't know, but women have more biological value, but that also means more biological burden, right? So they
Mhm.
don't like to take risks.
Right.
Unfortunately, rationality and modernity have detached expectations from reality, right? It used to be that you'd have these expectations which were built on tradition, which is an unbroken chain of good decisions that led to reproduction.
Right.
The reality now is that ladies can go in any direction and have any message bombarded. The message of tradition usually comes from people that love you, your family.
Yes. Right.
Now it's coming from a marketing executive. Okay. Now, this is not a bad thing, actually. This woman's instinct is not a bad thing, to go with the crowd, to go with the herd, what's trendy. Like, and if anybody thinks that women don't go with the crowd and don't go with the herd and don't follow what's trendy, take a look at women's fashion trends and then take a look at men's fashion trends. Okay. When was a three-piece suit invented? It is still
I don't know, but
I looked into it. It was like 1800s. Actually 1700s. Like, what we'll do is we'll shave off the coattails, or we'll change the lapel a little bit. But I'd say from definitely Victorian period, probably 1700s, maybe even 1600s, you had pretty much vest, coat, trousers, leather boots.
Don't fix what's not broken.
Yeah, we. Strangely enough, for risk-taking people such as men, we don't actually take a lot of risks with fashion. We're not trying to follow the crowd. We like it. We do it. Some grug in our head just says, like three-piece suit. Ugh, eat steak. Yeah. And that's pretty much how we function.
It's that the ladies like it, probably. Man,
ladies like it.
They do.
And that influences us a lot, actually. Men do not like to admit that women have a massive effect on our personal affectations. How else could you explain the existence of emo boys, right? that ain't natural.
They're cute though. I used to love them.
Let's not talk about that. I'm just kidding.
My bad taste in men can be another time.
Well, women like what women are kind of told to like, I guess. So there are some real concerns here, actually, with the rationality, right? Feminism had some good points. Women are terrified of losing freedom. When they get married, they consider it settling down, right? And it can be a little bit like a prison to a lot of women. Not to all women, but a lot of women. And they can see it as sort of cashing out. It's like, oh, all right, I've gotten myself up to here. I think this is the best guy I'm gonna get. I'm gonna cash out now. I'm just leave.
Playing it safe.
Yeah, you're playing it safe. A lot of women are afraid they're gonna play it safe. Like, maybe they could have gotten the better guy, right? Yeah. Maybe they could have gotten someone else.
Fear missing out.
If you want to read some Jane Austen, she's all about that.
I never have, actually. I've never read Austen.
I thought that was like required reading for ladies. But so women are afraid of losing their freedom and not getting what they think they can get, right? Getting the best they can. Next thing is they become because of this, they become paralyzed by too many choices. Analysis paralysis. And when you're in this state, most people, not even just women, most people go through a societal default. Right? They just, when they're not sure what to do, they just go with the crowd. That's everybody. And usually that means going to college these days.
Yep.
And they just sort of bide their time. It's like they're not really there for anything that they're passionate about necessarily. And I don't think anybody really knows what they're passionate about unless they're really passionate about it or they're past the age of 30. Right. Anyways, that's another topic. Passion is usually a lie. But feminine. And another thing about expectations is feminism makes women feel like traitors unless they perform. So unless you're a CEO, you're a traitor to your sex. That's not good.
Yeah, no.
So in summary, so here's something to think about. Feminism, I'm judging it by the fruits, right? I judge the tree by the fruits of it. That's a Christian principle, but it's also just realistic. It's just how engineering works too. Like, this is a good system because it gets good results.
And gardening.
But the good, everything, really. You have to get practical results from. But feminism trades the prison of traditional societal expectations for a prison of modern societal expectations. Women are less happy than they've ever been. Women are having children a lot later or not at all.
And the antidepressants.
Yep, taking a lot of Xanax. You can just look at suicide numbers. You can look at addiction numbers. It's a fact. I'm not even going to dispute it.
Right.
I mean, you could maybe have some arguments as to why, but I think it's pretty clear. You can just ask one of these ladies.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, sadly, we live in a world that doesn't like anecdotal, just lost my entire sentence.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean.
Yeah, they don't like things that they could just look at and see.
Exactly. They need proof or evidence or science or whatever, but they overthink things in that process and lose what's actually legit.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Turn that down a little bit.
Okay.
All right. I don't know what the sound level is on it now. I changed it by 1.
This is experimental, I suppose. That was only by 1? Dang.
I changed it by 1 and it like went all the way gone.
Yeah.
But anyways. So worse than feminism though has been Disney. By a lot. By a lot. So destiny, right? The fiction is that we are meant for each other. I have a typo there. I apologize for that. We are mean for each other. Some couples are.
I mean,
the reality is that we'll do. You'll do whatever. You're here. I'm ready. Let's get married. Like people talk about return to tradition, but like tradition for my family, my anecdotal experience is that my great grandpa met my great grandmother because he was looking for work and it was the Great Depression and she had a farm and she needed a farmhand. So bada bing, bada boom, the Lego piece fit, metaphorically speaking. And they stayed together for like 65 years.
And did they love each other?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be love at first sight fairy tale.
Exactly. And that brings me to the second point here, affection. Like fiction is that we fell in love. Like it was a sudden thing like, oh wow, I'm in love now. I just looked at him and it's love at first sight. I think no, that's infatuation. The reality is like usually takes it's you're pretty well into marriage when you're like, oh, I really love this person. That's 4 years of continuous work after the marriage, after the, like cohabitation.
Right.
My wife told me that a coworker told her, like this older coworker lady of hers, that it takes like 4 years of constant cohabitation until you really even know somebody.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you have to make the choice, and then the love comes.
That's why it's a plunge, right? That's why it's a leap of faith, a little bit. Like,
do you suppose there are instances where the love never comes from it, despite the choice being made?
Well, there's a lot of loveless marriages. Oh, for sure. But those can work too. There's nothing wrong with that.
Interesting.
I mean, you got to try. You have to try to love the other person,
right?
And love comes in different forms, right? That's another thing about the affection. Is it's like let's all get in a sailboat and circumnavigate the world together and be in each other's arms underneath the Milky Way. It's like no, sometimes it's just like, oh, thanks, you picked up my favorite kettle chips while you were out.
Okay.
Nice.
That's
that.
true. I guess we do have a warped idea of what love is, especially in the romantic sense.
Yeah. No. And especially marriage. Let's go on. And the next one is I want Prince Charming. The reality is you need Prince Reliable. That's what you're actually going to love.
Yeah. Charming usually scams you when you're the lady.
Or Charming just has a whole bunch of other ladies and you might not be first on his list.
That's one way of scamming.
Yeah. Well, no, it's just he has a choice and he's got a bunch of other ladies and he's like, well, I like you, but I'm into you, but I'm like, I like you, but I'm not into you kind of thing.
Oh, I see.
It's not really a scam. Yeah.
I thought you meant he's dating all of them at the same time.
Well, maybe in the first date sort of thing. I think that as an aside, I think it's okay to date several people up until like the third date. Then like third date material. Yeah, you should shop around. Like have a lot of first dates. Huh. It's a totally non-committal. Oh yeah. That's how it used to be done actually in the 1950s and before.
Fascinating.
It was in the I know about this in the 1950s that you were expected to date around. That's why all those shows about high schoolers in the 1950s was like, oh yeah, I got a date with Susie this Friday, and then I got a date with Mary Beth on the next Friday or something like that. I'm going roller skating with Peggy Sue and 2 Saturdays after that. Like you're just dating like dating culture was a big deal.
Interesting.
And it was considered scandalous if you quote went steady, because that means it's becoming more than just we're going to go get ice cream and listen to the jukebox. Now it's becoming, oh, maybe they're getting physical or getting a little too forward.
Interesting.
That's actually part of my. Oh yeah, you got to explore around. That's because if you don't explore, you're not going to know what's out there, and if you don't know what's out there, you're going to regret whatever you do get, even if it is the best. But we get ahead of ourselves. I actually have a slide on that.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Women's greatest enemy is time. I'm sorry, ladies. It's really mean. I like how that's got a number on this Shutterstock thing too. Yeah, I lifted this from Shutterstock. Don't sue me. I love how it's got a number here because it's just like woman number such and such. It's like she's an inmate. Exhibit.
That's what I was thinking too. The mugshot.
Right, time. Yeah. Time comes for us all, guys. All right. Even if you had a goal of getting married by 30, right? Mm-hmm. You got an average of 12 to 18 months of engagement. That's one I pulled from, I think, The Knot or Brides.com. 2 to 4 years of dating per relationship before marriage. So you met a guy 2 years later or 4 years later, on average, you'll be married to him. Some people get married the first day they meet somebody. It's called living in Vegas. Some people get married after 10 years, right? That's just called, I don't even know what that's called.
I mean,
That's called cold feet. I don't know.
yeah, very cold feet.
And it takes about 3 to 5 relationships before you find the one, like steady long-term relationships. So if you do the math here, let's say the best case scenario, 12 months of engagement, right? So now it's 29. So you take 30 years minus the 1 year for engagement, minus 2 years and 3 times of 2 years, right?
Right.
So that's 7 years there. So you have to be 23 at best to have started seriously looking through and just cycling through guys. Now, you can get lucky. You can meet Mr. Right the first time, marry him in 2 years, and then boom goes the dynamite. You're done. And it's really just about where you want to settle to. I think a lot of people in their early 20s, early to mid 20s, they'll cycle through guys, and they'll just keep doing that because they can.
Yeah, so I've witnessed that.
Yeah. That's the tragedy of averages. Now, unfortunately, the tragedy of being young is that you might have cycled through a really good guy.
Yeah. I have a question for you on this one.
Sure.
So, are you advocating that we should start instilling in young adults and maybe even teenagers that they should start thinking about relationships and getting a stable foundation ready for their adulthood even before they're fully into it?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, no, I mean, when is fully into it, right? Like that's going to be when it's too late, typically.
Exactly.
That's like waking up at noon and on Black Friday and wanting to go get a good deal on a computer or something like that, or whatever's on sale. I'm dating myself because Black Friday used to be a thing when I was a kid.
Is it not a thing anymore?
Not really. You just do it all online.
Gosh. I thought that's Cyber Monday.
No, Black Friday is online too. I can go shop, whatever.
Old, apparently.
Yeah, and also Black Friday just goes on for like a week now. But anyways, we're getting off topic. I will give you a little bit of a TLDR. My advice for making this work, it pretty much resembles Eastern families, traditional family structures. Like we're already there. The West needs to catch up.
Okay.
And stop ignoring the East.
So what is that exactly?
Good.
And how would that exactly work then for those who don't know about different cultures like that?
We're going to go through it. I'm going to pretty much list all the solutions. So don't worry, we'll get there.
All
right. So life circumstances have evolved. It used to be that you had to have a wife to do all your household chores. So men had an impetus to have a wife. Women had to have a husband because they needed to have someone to provide food, money, that sort of thing. And most jobs back then were heavy labor, right? So if you're, there's a distinction between market jobs and domestic jobs, and they're both jobs. They're both valuable work.
Right.
But market jobs back in the day used to be mostly shoveling coal or chopping wood or something like that. It's not using your brain, right? But now we see people, we're using our brains to earn money, and we're using appliances to take care of our home. So the world is now seeing most women for the first time. Women have entered the workforce. They are both physically capable because there's the physical floor for profitable work is very low, and they are independent, right? So that, and they don't need, they don't need no man from a materialistic standpoint. They don't.
I was gonna say, I mean,
so
they're not very happy about it.
No, exactly. Well, it used to be that the material realities of the past forced us into social structures that would provide the sort of metaphysical needs, the emotional, mental, community needs. But they don't do anymore. And since people have based their traditions on materialism to an extent, especially once the baby boomers hit, this whole structure fell apart as soon as there was no more material need to hold it together.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Is there any way to make that sort of way of living like work for those who may be want to?
We'll get there. For sure.
Okay.
All right. Failures to adapt. Case studies. All right. So this is the failures. I love this part because I get to talk mad smack about people on the internet. So the red pilled manosphere response to feminism is just shout, get back in the kitchen, and then to neg on women, just crap on women, which it does not work. It does not work. You're not, and the women that it does work on are not going to be the kind of quality woman that you'd like. It's women repellent, and no, women on the internet don't count. They just tell you what you want to hear. Women on the internet are like, they're doing stuff for likes, retweets, followers. So they're a little bit like the waitress at Buffalo Wild Wings. She's nice to you because she gets something out of it, but she's not that into you.
She's doing what she needs to.
She's doing what she needs to get them likes, man. People do all crazy things for likes.
They do, though.
And this usually comes from men who have a prolonged adolescence. Like, I don't actually need a woman to get back in the kitchen. I'm like a gourmet. I wouldn't say I'm a gourmet chef, but I'm pretty close.
Okay.
Just by self-teaching over the 20 years, which I've been cooking for myself.
And it is a good skill to have.
Yeah, every man should know how to cook.
Yeah.
Almost all Eastern men know how to cook really well.
That makes sense.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
All right. Failures to adapt. Career women.
Yeah.
Career women. Women's attempt at freedom in finance. All right. So women have had the women's
folk.
Like Cotton Hill. I mean, women have achieved finances and the living situation that they want. They're able to achieve that materialistically. That's there. Boom. But the downsides is they are run down and they are tired and they are worked hard. Workplaces are places of constant conflict by necessity. When you're working in a business, scarcity is always there because there's always some place the business wants to put their money. If there's someone's wasting it, right? So since it's a materially driven and financially driven institution, you are driven to work. Whereas if you're at home, once you've gotten all your stuff done, there's no actual pressure to continue working. Like when you finish the laundry, you can just sit down and relax. And it used to be this way too when we were agrarian. Like when people were farmers, they were all basically small business owners. And once they've tended the crops, like you can't work harder and make more crops. Once you've watered, fertilized, plowed, and done all that, you basically just have to wait for it to grow, which forces people to relax.
It's when you sit on the front porch and play a banjo.
Correct. Or, invent sports like baseball, invent new musics,
Socialize.
or actually become a citizen scientist like a Thomas Jefferson type, right? Like
a
lot of pretty much culture comes from having leisure time, but that's another subject for another time.
Right.
Shallow relationships. When a lot of ladies get really shocked, especially when COVID hit and the post-COVID economic depression that we're going to find ourselves in soon, is that when they get fired or laid off from their job, none of their friends from that job want to talk to them anymore. And it's really tragic. It's really tragic.
Well, I only talked to one person that I befriended overall from all the jobs that I worked in, for example, like retail and stuff. Only one of them was actually ended up being a true friend overall.
Well, again, it's material circumstance that drives these community bonds that we've had. And when the material circumstance goes away, then so do the bonds, unless the bond is strong enough and is transcended. Also, this duplicates. So obviously, there's not a whole lot of time for family if they're both working. We talked about that, but this duplicates, not complements men's efforts, and that's a fatal flaw because men have no use for this woman. She's just extra money, and men don't really need that much money. We don't really care. Once we have enough, we don't care. I don't know what the case is for women too, but I don't know if there's like women pressure or what. Go ahead.
Prioritize men who make money, at least when they're seeking partners. I've seen too many videos of young women, like they're just describing their ideal man, and he makes like 6 figures or whatever, and so many of them don't realize how unrealistic that actually usually is for them.
Yeah, men when men run into that woman, we date and dump because she's shallow.
Yeah,
a guy is more likely to marry the cashier at Tractor Supply or something who's just really nice and sweet than the party girl who's looking hot and wants men with lots of money and getting bottle service, right?
A lot of women don't realize that, though.
No, they don't. That's why this channel exists. We're here to kind of riff off each other and set expectations properly. Because what men want is not what women think they want.
Not.
Yeah. Anyways. Okay. Another failure to adapt. The trad wife. An attempt to return to traditional gender roles, which only existed from 1950 to 1980.
Doesn't mean it was bad.
It wasn't actually. Well, if it was good, people would have stayed doing it, right?
Or they just got dumb.
Maybe. I think a lot of women don't want to just be at home all day because there's not that much to do. Like it. So one of the sources I grabbed here said 60 hours a week. It took 60 hours a week to maintain the home, and then it became 15 hours a week. So in 1950s and 60s, you had a lot of ladies that just drank. It's not good to be that unemployed.
That's true. However,
it's highly mentally damaging to be that unemployed. But yes, go
Yeah,
ahead.
but there's other stuff you can do instead these days, whether it be, like having a little garden to be somewhat more or less self-efficient, or you do like homeschooling stuff with the kids, because I firmly believe people should be having kids on the bunches and stuff like that. There's plenty you can do if you just actually do things and not just sit around alone and miserable.
That's true, but it's still not filling it. It wasn't fulfilling women then, and it probably won't fulfill women now. There needs to be more, and I have the solution for it.
Okay.
Don't worry.
We'll see.
I'm very. I don't really give this whole trad wife thing because first off, it's an internet meme. It's an internet thing. Internet things come and go pretty quick.
But it's good. I love it.
Eh.
I have an affinity for trad.
I know you do.
Free.
Okay. I mean, you should have an affinity for trad. It's good to have someone watching the home. Don't worry, I'm not going to poop on. The thing is, trad has hijacked it and then turned it into a costume party and a LARP. And I think we can get rid of the bad that comes with it.
Okay.
Or the unfulfilled that comes with it.
I'll hear you out.
The dross. And I'm going to replace it with something that actually stands the test of time.
I hope so. Let's see.
Oh, well. All right, and the Forever Alones. So here's the cast of Sex and the City. MGTOWs and incels, men and women. Strong Independent Woman is just the original MGTOW. Or
oh my gosh,
original MGTOW, which becomes WGTOW, right? Women going their own way. Strong Independent. Now, women see men as brutes and men see women as parasites. It comes down to a lack of trust. This isn't. First off, it's not sustainable from a societal perspective, but it also just ignores your biological need for companionship and deep relationships.
Yes.
I mean, what's the plan, guys? You're just going to go fishing from now until you're dead? And eventually, the last piece of bait you throw in that creek is going to be you. Just slump over, and there it goes. A life well lived. For ladies, you're just going to grow up until your hands are kind of like that weird veiny and spindly thing, and then no one wants to talk to you, and you're invisible, and you get to pretty much experience what it's like to be a early 20s man, societally speaking, in terms of value, until eventually you just sort of die.
Great dystopian fiction, or maybe it's nonfiction, but
yeah, it's nonfiction now. This is reality right now. You can watch it, you can see it. Not good.
Sad.
Don't be forever alone. So a little bit of quartering. Women are under attack. Expectations are skewed by women, and it's expectations of women and expectations by women. So what do women expect, and what is expected of the women? Totally skewed. Yeah,
I've experienced that.
Yeah. Time is constant for women. Okay, so that cannot be overcome. No. That is just the nature of women. So by the way, and men have their own thing that they can't overcome. Women have time that will take them under like an undertow.
Yeah.
And men have just their own uselessness and lack of worth. This disposability, I suppose. Yeah, man. Men are super disposable. Like, when's the last time anybody cared if a man died?
I mean, I know we've discussed
doing electrical lines in a flood or something.
I mean, it probably happens all the time, but
yeah, exactly. Well, that's exactly it.
It's still the Heath Ledger
Joker speech. It's the Heath Ledger Joker speech. It's according to plan, so no one cares. That's probably one of the best. It's a bit, he's a bit. He's not having a good attitude about it. Like, you have to have an attitude. It's just nature. It's just how it goes, right?
He's the villain.
You have a bad attitude about your lot in life, but he was 100% right. Like, when a bunch of men die, it's just life according to plan. When a woman dies, it's a tragedy. When a woman gets old and becomes a spinster, it's just sort of life going according to plan. Maybe it's a bit of a tragedy. You shouldn't find a man. And when a man gets kind of old and useless, it is a bit of a tragedy. I think the most sad thing I can think of in the whole world is a man who has gotten old and is expected to perform as if he was young, and just everyone at work just treats him like he's useless, like he's a nuisance. He's kept around by pity. Right. Nobody can rely on him, and he's just belittled every day, and people just go, "Oh, I got to give it to him again. Great. I got to ask him for help. Let's see if he remembers." That's horribly sad. That's elder abuse. Yeah, it's awful. That's the saddest thing in the world to me, because he's like trying so hard to be useful, and he's just it's the Lady and the Tramp sort of dichotomy, where that old dog is getting older and he's just becoming useless, and the young dog is taking his place.
I was thinking of the Disney movie. I see what you're saying, though.
What, Lady and the Tramp?
Yeah, it's a love story between two dogs.
But
I see what you're saying.
No, there's an old dog in there that becomes useless and thrown to the side. It's quite tragic, but yes.
I watched the sequel more as a kid.
Oh, I never watched. sequel. Anyways, time for a solution. Here's where I actually give you the solution. And no, it's not trad wife. All right. So strategies. First off, you got to find a husband.
Husband hunting.
If you know what you want, you can reduce the number of partners before you find the one. You might even just nail them the first try.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was the first guy my wife dated.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah, it's pretty. It was. If she was the first woman I dated, I would have married her all the same.
Oh, that's so sweet.
You also have to be direct, so you can reduce the late. There's a lot of stories out there of women who are just waiting and saying, "When is this guy going to propose to me?" So just ask him. It's like, hey, listen, like from the third date, you should be like, yeah, I would like to date around for a guy for maybe 2 years before he asks me to marry, and just bring up marriage. If you scare him away, then he didn't want to marry you anyway. So just scare him away already and just get on with it.
Interesting. I have a history of being very direct, and so far it's not worked.
You might have to find the guys who are ready, right? So also be focused. That brings me to the third point. Be focused. Date men who want to get married. If marriage scares them, then they don't want to get married. So don't date them.
Okay. You can't change him.
Oh, you can't. Well, the way that men are ready to marry. Okay, women get ready to marry when they meet the right guy. That is not how it works for men. Men want to get married when they're ready to get married. It's just a time. You just basically, if you're the woman who's just dating him when he gets to, I don't know, 27. Let's say there's a predestined number, age at which he's ready to get married. If you're just there when he's 27, he's going to marry you, probably.
Interesting.
That's it. You just have to be around when he's ready.
Like there's an invisible timestamp for each man. He just becomes ready.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Yes, it is. It's usually in his mid-30s. If he's not being prepared for it. Like for me, my dad told me to find a good wife when I was 12. And my dad spoke to me maybe a dozen times when I was a kid. So every time he did, it was like receiving tablets from God on Mount Sinai. So when he said that, like, you got to find a good wife, I think him and my mom had just had a fight. He was like, and he was like, Alex, you better find a good wife.
Interesting.
It's like if his car broke down, he's like, Alex, don't buy a Ford, buy a reliable Honda. If you ever think about buying a Ford, don't buy a Honda.
I drive Honda. I will say though, on age 12, if I had not overthought things for myself and broken up with my boyfriend when I was 12, man, my life would have been so much better, and so would his, I think. That's probably one of my biggest regrets these days is because I had thought, at that age, I was like, well, we're not going to last anyway, so I might as well just break up before I get too attached to him and it'll hurt more. Oh, that was a mistake.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, like, women will say until I meet the right man, and their dilemma is, how do I know it's the right man?
There's that. And in my case, there's also the expectation of going to university and having a career and doing all this stuff. And it's like, I'll have time for romance later. We're only
default
kids.
Default life path. And that's why, like, in this, where did I put it? Yes. That's why here, I like pressing. 23 is when the very first, you should start really going for it at 23. At the latest, if you want to get married by 30. The dilemma where men aren't sure when they're ready to get married, you can push that forward. You can actually kind of push it without just being direct. So putting on social pressure, like where you're like poking him with a stick, like, yeah, when are we gonna marry? When are we gonna marry? It's gonna be like, he's not gonna like. Men don't like being pushed like that.
Right. Does anyone?
When we mix. So marriage is one of the few times where men actually have the upper hand socially. And it's the only string that we can pull, really.
Oh.
And we hold it dear. We pull the hell out of it. And we will. Okay. So a man will know when he's ready to get married. It's very subtle. It has to be subtle. Subtle hints.
Okay.
Usually,
so it actually works to be subtle with a man sometimes?
Yeah, you just have to be indirect. It cannot come from you. Let me put it that way. Your best bet is to actually talk to one of his best friends.
Really?
And then ask for advice. It's like, hey, I really like this guy. Like, let's say the guy's name is Dave and his other friend's name is Jim. Okay. Go over to Jim, Dave's friend. Say, Jim, I really like Dave. I kind of want to settle down with him. Do you have any advice? And Jim will probably think about it, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to get Jim to just talk to Dave.
Interesting.
Also, it's good as if his friends are already married. So a man will, if there was a mathematical equation, there would be an increased probability that he will ask you to marry based on the number of close friends he has that are married.
So that's the same as women getting divorced, though, isn't it? If a lady has more divorced friends, she's more likely to get a divorce as well. And then they all be miserable together.
Yeah, that's why I don't recommend women have friends. It can only be bad things for women. I'm just kidding. No.
Shoot. I mean, that could be true, though. I'm just thinking about life experiences.
Yeah, women should have friends that are trying to help them succeed. So it's good to do a little bit of a shit test on your friends, where it's like you bring up an idea, it's like, hey, I was thinking about buying a juice truck during the summer. I will sell juice. And if they just tear you down, then you should get new friends.
Interesting.
Even if it's a stupid idea, they should be somewhat supportive.
Really?
Yeah.
Not
they should be like, I mean, it depends on how unrealistic. If it says, hey, I would like to transition to becoming a walrus, just like that movie, The Walrus, they're going to probably say like, no. But if it's like, hey, I want to write a book, or hey, I want to marry a man and have a bunch of kids. Just say something that that they would disagree with slightly, that they don't like.
Interesting.
Would they still help you do it? Yeah, because if they don't want to help you achieve something that they themselves wouldn't want for themselves, well, then they're just using you as a puppet. They're using you like a Barbie doll. Like they're, you ever had a friend who wasn't married and she never wanted to get married, and if you talk to her about marriage, she just poops on it, just craps all over it.
Sort of.
Yeah, like it depends. I guess what I'm saying is, can your friend put your interests ahead of hers, even in just something as trivial as encouragement?
But even if they can, there's still, I would say, a question of if when you're around them as a lady, you act more in ways that you want to, or become better in ways that you're seeking instead of. I know.
Oh, that's for sure. Yeah,
for myself,
be around people that make you worse.
No, well, I know for myself, as I've been changing, I guess, maybe maturing. I don't know exactly which word would best fit in the past several years. With some of my friends, I've had instances where it's like I feel like I become different in ways that I wouldn't be proud of like who I'm trying to be, if that makes sense.
Yes, it is. Friend curation is actually really important. I will do another presentation or another thing on dating strategies for men, and one of them is to evaluate her friends.
Oh, that is a good one, yeah.
Yeah, and if she has bad friends, she's not going to.
No, because they hype each other up.
Yep.
There's like a shared cloud.
Also, one of the women's roles in a relationship is to curate the friend group. That's with social roles. Is she curates the friend group.
That makes sense, I think.
So that is why women actually have a lot of power over getting the guy to think about marriage. Like most guys will just do whatever their friends are doing. Okay, so you can either get their friends to marry, which you don't have as much influence over, or you can curate a new friend group that is a bunch of married dudes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
So, yeah, let's say the guy's into guns. He loves guns. And all of his friends who are into guns are a bunch of single dudes. Not a great friend group. And you want to transform it. Well, what you could do is you can you go out and use your social abilities, ladies' social abilities, meet guys who are married and way good with guns and have better guns, and you're upgrading his friend group, rotating him out. He will thank you for it because he doesn't necessarily know what his friend group is doing this, like bringing him down and keeping him single and unhappy. And you can get him better guys. Like maintaining the social group is actually one of the major powers women have, which is a shame that women are so busy now working because they can't do that function. No. Women have a tremendous amount of influence in community.
That does make sense, and for kids too, to watch who your kids are friends with in the neighborhood, kids, etc.
Yep, correct. Like mom gets to decide who gets to come over for cookies and milk, right? So if it's like good boy Gil and his friends who are all on the honor roll, or if it's bad guy Billy or like Dennis the Menace. Dennis the Menace can go get lost. She doesn't like him. Spray the hose at him. Flee. Right. Go away. Anyways. Yes. So women do have some influence here. All right. So Western marriage needs a rebrand.
Oh.
So settling down is now teaming up. It should not be a settle down. He should be helping her.
I see the framing, the mindset of the phrasing itself.
Correct. This is me using my salesman abilities, right? Just reframe it, change the context of it, and sell it so it's in your best interest, which is what the feminists have done for women, right? Feminism has sold freedom. I would say what I did before in this presentation was FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. I basically said you're trading one prison for another when you go with feminism. This is a way out, actually, and provides you the greatest amount of freedom.
And happiness and health and etc.
Marriage is no more dating. I don't think women like dating very much.
No.
I mean, it's nice when they're upgrading, but then when you get to the plateau and you're in the mire, I think women hate it. I don't know what your experience is.
I hated it from the get-go. I always actually wanted to just find someone quickly and be like, all right, don't need a date anymore. This is the one. We're good. Again, my only mistake with that was thinking I wouldn't meet someone till I'd be in like university or my mid-20s or even 30s. So, but
never, yeah, it's to all those who might see this under the sound of my voice, it's never a bad time to be looking.
Right.
Never a bad time. It's like real estate. Always be looking.
If you got a good one, keep.
Yeah, exactly. Don't try to upgrade. Work from home wife, right? So instead of being a housewife, which means you're just like a house cat, like a pet, now you're a work from home wife. Everyone loves working from home. I mean, most of the people. It's pretty good. I think people hate commuting. Generally. And what you do is you have your... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I just said generally. Some people like commuting. It's nice.
So I don't make rules for the exceptions. I make rules for the general.
I know.
Yes, the sky is blue in the daytime, even though the clouds are white, and the sky is black in the nighttime, even though there's stars. You can't account for all those exceptions.
Sky.
Yeah. All right. So a husband brings stability. So he's basically an insurance. He's a safety net.
Yes.
As long as he's going to work, you will have health insurance. Like he has a good job, health insurance, and he'll be making the money he makes. So what is a wife to do? Well, a wife is possibility. So this is a way that you can sell men on getting married as well, that she brings a lot of possibilities. All right.
You won't have a barren man cave.
I'm sorry, what?
I was just going to say with possibilities, guy won't have just a barren man cave with, a chair, a TV, and
this is the thing this is the thing. A lot of Western women think of the wife as just like the decorator and homemaker. I'm going to blow that wide open. I mean,
there's more to it, but it's part of it. Yeah.
Well, we'll see what you think when we get later on. All right. So the type of man and woman this is for, I'm just want to like say all the exceptions. Yeah, basically all these things. You can't make it work with a useless person.
Right.
Like if they're not into it, they're not into it. If they don't want, if they're not ambitious, if they don't want to work hard, if they're not ready to grow up, right? If they're not dedicated,
right?
Yeah, they can't. It's not going to work. Cycle them out.
They have to want it. Be ready, willing.
I think. So when me and my wife got together, we just had a Zoom call, and we talked about marriage, like a business meeting, because that's what marriage is. Primarily is a business. It's got tax considerations. It has resource considerations. It has time constraints. Contracts, exactly. Marriage is a business, and that's how most of the rest of the world treats marriage. We are not. The rest of the world is not Disneyfied. All right. So we're going to preserve freedom. So that's what women want, right? That's the thing that feminism does, says you're going to lose your freedom. So how do we make a sales pitch that says we're going to maximize women's freedom? All right. So I already talked about the stability, but stability and security means a safety net, which means freedom. You can do anything you want if you have a safety net. You can, if you have a safety net, a literal one, you could jump off of a building. You could do crazy, risky things. You could have wild schemes. You could, I don't know.
Right.
If you say to yourself, man, if I was 14 again, I would, I don't know, learn to play the guitar. Like, well, metaphorically speaking, like not necessarily guitar, but yeah, you can do that if you have a husband that's supportive. You can do whatever you want.
That is true. Yeah. The opportunity.
It's 100% true. And a good husband will do that for you. Now, husbands cannot undo time, though. So there are still time constraints. We cannot fix that. So let's make a deal. Men bring financial stability and emotional stability, and as in we're anti-neurotic. If women are worried about something, men should be, there should be a class or some sort of workshop, maybe I'll do it, on how as a man you can reduce her neuroticism and her anxiety. Because that's mostly what women want, is just says, it's going to be okay, don't worry. I've got it. I've got
that rock, that steady base.
Yep. And we do manual and skilled labor, so if you need a toilet fixed. Now, my wife fixes toilets because she's awesome. But like when it comes to heavy lifting and stuff, or electricals, something like that. That's my thing. But women obviously bring in children. But here's the next thing: financial opportunities. And most people think of just children in a sense of home, which makes women into a. This is what this is how the feminists get a stranglehold. They just say that women under a traditional environment are baby factories and homemakers. And that's why trad wife, I think, is going to fail, because it's not really expanding beyond that. Like when you're, if you ever see a lady who is an empty nester, she was a dedicated home wife and now she's an empty nester, she is a wreck sometimes, or she's done what I'm going to say to do. Right. Okay. So next couple slides, I'll describe how to avoid being the empty nester.
Okay. Okay.
All right, and both, of course, bring companionship, a helping hand. In other words, if someone's having trouble, like I just wrecked, let's say I wrecked my car, my wife would help me out. She'd come and pick me up.
Right.
Both should be raising children, and both have complementary life phases, which is those last two are the most important and the biggest change from how the West does it. All right.
Interesting.
So this is the modern female timeline. A little bit more FUD before I move on. School until 22. So college, right? Graduate 22. Career forever. Onwards from that. Maybe married in the late 20s, early 30s. That's pretty typical and kind of generous. Child in mid 30s, maybe.
Yeah.
And then if there's no children, then they just sort of continue to exist until eventually it just kind of ends.
Yeah. Yep. I'm sighing in all this because this is what the exact trajectory I was on when I was younger. This is what I expected my life to be, and I didn't realize how badly it would mess me up.
Yes. No, I think a lot of women are starting to figure it out, and I hope this video would stand as a bit of a testament to help them. But yes, my new proposed timeline.
Oh.
Okay. The seeking years. This is the time where women are finding out what are the possibilities so that they don't have regrets, right?
Okay.
Increased surety means you marry decisively, and that's where you're doing these little dates. One date. Kick him to the curb if he's not, like, on that first date. You should be getting a feel for how he is, how's his family, what does he talk about. If he's in, let's say he's an enthusiastic member of his own family, with his parents, brothers, sisters, all that stuff, he'll probably bring it up. Like, you just ask, like, hey, how many siblings do you have? Basic question. If he says, oh, I got 3, I guess, I don't know, it's like, okay, well, that's not a good thing. If it's like, oh yeah, I've got a little sister, you know, I used to help her, you know, do this stuff. She's really fun. And I got a brother who's in college and he's like went into football, but it didn't quite work out, but he's becoming a mathematician now. It's like, oh, this guy's into his family.
But that's like with this plus. Sort of stuff, say the guy, you know, he's not, when you're talking him up, he's not saying the things that are green flags, we'll say. But because this is a big deal for ladies, what if you get the feels because the way he is, you're like, oh, my emotions just adore this man. That is a lady thing. It's happened to me. It's happened to others.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't want to tell women to. I would not tell women to ignore their instincts. I mean, right.
Sometimes we should, though. But
yes, exactly. But that's why I'm saying the but right here is that. Women are really good at knowing if there's a red flag. Like, I don't like this guy. There's something creepy about him. Listen to that. If it's like, I'm not quite into this guy, keep going. Or, sorry. And if you are really into this guy, temper that. Try and use the scientific process. The scientific process is when you have an observation or you have a hypothesis, you try and disprove it.
Okay.
Yeah, do the shit tests, do everything. A lot of ladies don't want to disqualify the guy that they have feelings for.
It's true though.
But you got to try and do your best to disqualify him. Like, find the things, right?
Oh, but he's favorite pick for a reason.
Ruin it for you. Ruin it for yourself. Those Disney movies take advantage of that instinct that women have and make it so they're endlessly indecisive.
We already kind of are though, even before Disney, I imagine. But
yeah, women had fewer choices though. It's kind of hard to. There's two different factors in there. How many choices women had versus when Disney came out. So, right, those two different variables. You got two variables changing at the same time. It's hard to say which of one is the other, right? But
it's probably both.
Anyways, she's going around and she's going around the world. She's doing a tour. Maybe it's not around the world. Maybe it's just around her hometown, or maybe her state, or maybe she just moved to California for a few years. She's trying some stuff out. She's not making any major life modifications. No septum piercings, lady. That stuff is disgusting. We hate that. Sleeve tattoos are not great either. That sort of thing. And we don't like it if you just like sleep around a whole lot. You could figure this stuff out without having sex. You don't need to have sex in this. In fact, I would say if you're serious about getting married, study abroad is good. Mission trips to your church is good. Vacations aren't that good. Volunteering is okay. Volunteering is actually the best. That's how I met my wife.
Really?
Yeah. Volunteering is the best because you're going to find the best guys. They've already self-selected for men who have extra time, have discipline, care about other people, and have some sort of skill to contribute.
Wait, real quick. And this could be just an issue of where I'm located and have been my entire life, but do people genuinely tend to volunteer because they want to? Because in my experience, volunteers either for students who have to get it so they can graduate, meet the requirement, I mean, or it's people who have been through programs, sometimes related through like prison or stuff like that, and they volunteer because they have to so they can get an easier time out or something.
Oh, I see what you're saying. First off, for the first one, the student volunteer thing is just don't be in your student group. But you can just talk to people and find out why they're there.
Yeah, but I'm saying I've never known people to volunteer for the most part. There's obviously a few, but overall, people don't volunteer because they just want to. But again, maybe that's just where I am locally.
Maybe. I don't know. When I was volunteering, even in Maryland, like Blue State, Suburbia, that sort of thing, I was meeting people left and right. It was fine.
Fascinating.
I don't know. No, volunteering is good. I mean, don't base all of your prejudices on your past experiences if you did not have a lot of past experience.
I mean,
for me, I volunteered at like 5 or 6 places.
Yeah.
Habitat for Humanity is probably the worst because that's the go-to of I want to get some hours and look good and post it on Instagram. Typically working with school children is the best. That's what I did. I was teaching adults, programming.
To be clear?
Say what?
To meet other adults, to be clear?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when you're volunteering, so I volunteered with First Robotics as a judge, and I guess that was it. I was a judge, and then I would like once in a while I'd talk with a group and like point them towards some resources for program or something like that. Right. But even when I was a student, right, I would volunteer. You could kind of tell the difference between someone who wants to be there and someone who doesn't. So use your feminine ability to reconnoiter motives to help suss it out. I'm not here to give you like a guarantee. I'm just here to tell you probabilistically you're going to meet better guys there.
The odds. Play the odds in our favor.
Yeah, and if you're in an area like where you're at, maybe you're in an area where people aren't really nice and good. Like I can't help you. I literally cannot help you. If you go to a volunteering event and there's like, oh man, there's all a bunch of junkies and stupid kids who are just trying to check their box. I'm like, well, you're just in a bad area.
I mean, that could be my problem. I've had several people tell me I just need to move, but that's not feasible for the time being.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was volunteering in Baltimore, and I was meeting good people.
Interesting.
Baltimore. There's a dude who got stabbed outside of one of our events. I still met good people inside. I didn't get stabbed inside. I was meeting. Yeah, it was fun. Anyways, let's not get too hitched on it.
Right.
The 100%. All right. So this is your finding years. From 16 to 22. Now, after that, it's 100% dedicated mother years. So crank them out. Babies. Let's say you want 5. Have all 5 as fast
10.
as you can. Sure, as much as you want. So husband and wife, they need to work together. So Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett, I think she's got like 5 kids, and she's a Supreme Court Justice. She did very well in school, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Her husband was holding her babies, I think, during her swearing in.
Aww.
Right? Husbands help.
Yeah.
So if you're like, that's women's work, that's boomer. That is why the boomers are not a sustainable civilization.
Right.
I would say I'll get on to when I go to the specific example. I'll talk about how I think guys should approach it from a quantitative standpoint.
Okay.
And then we'll see what we think. But yes, you should be grooming the oldest child though to care for all your little kids. This is how a functional family works. These kids are supposed to be self-sufficient. Even in other
species.
Say what?
Even in other species, this is the case. For example, I used to be in some rodent breeding circles, and I know for gerbils, for example, you have the pair that's together, and this goes for the wild versions as well with gerbils. They actually, the oldest daughters and sometimes sons will actually hang back specifically to take care of their younger siblings and help their parents out.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Yes, this phase though is going to last as long as it lasts, and depends on how many kids you want. Right. So now you're on the 50% mom years. This is when you're starting to free yourself up, and you're just there to keep the kids in line.
They get older.
Like you ring the bell to wake them up, that sort of thing. You're transitioning out of full-time mom duty, and this is going to start right about when your first kid is 10 years old. That's when they're getting to be about pretty much independent. Like at 8 years old, the kid can be on like by themselves. I was able to like make myself a simple meal when I was 8 years old.
Right.
I could do my laundry. My mom was very lazy, and that's actually a really good way to raise your kids. Raise your kids, still get stuff done, but be as lazy as possible and shift as much onto them as you can. And just say like, "Oh, good boy, yay! There's mommy's little helper," and the kid will just be like, "Yes, mom, I love you," and they'll be loading the laundry machine. And he or she's going to be kind of useless for the first like year or two when you do it. But about 10 years, they can actually, sort the darks out from each other. Right when you're doing the laundry, they know not to use bleach in there. They know which fabric softener to use and how much. That sort of thing. They might need a stool, but that's about it.
In this 50% stage, it wouldn't start when the youngest would hit about 10 years? It would be when the first one does?
Yeah, the 10-year-old should actually be able to help out.
Oh, and that would ease up. Okay, I see. I see.
You're shifting your parental duties onto your children, which is actually how most of civilization has worked.
It is.
For the entirety of history.
Even in my family, it happened that way with my parents and their siblings and parents.
So you have to proactively raise your children properly so you can have time. And that's time for hobbies. So just enjoy. I don't know. Maybe make jewelry. Do something else. Make paper from scratch. I don't know. Just start making things that you like to buy. First off, it's going to save you money. Second off, you already know that you're a customer of it. So there's got to be someone else who wants to buy it.
Etsy in its golden era.
So 25% mom years is coasting, and you're keeping an eye out. So now you have an Etsy store, right? At your own pace, you learn about business and finance, and your husband is your number one investor and safety net, which means you're starting to earn back your freedom. So the woman who wants it all, wants to have kids and a career. This is how you get it. You start out, basically you have to put in your time. This is your time. So for 10, 15 years, you're putting in a lot of time to raise your kids properly. And then you start transitioning to earn your freedom back. But the thing is, women live a long time. People live really long now. So 10, 15 years of, I got to do my duty and then I have complete freedom. Is that's freedom. That's good. Right. 5% mom. This is scripture, Proverbs 31, verses 10 through 31. These are your Proverbs years. I'm going to just pull that up and read it.
Okay.
Quick.
Yes, please.
A wife of noble character who can find. She is worth far more than rubies. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. She selects wool and flax and works with eager hands. She is like the merchant ships, bringing her food from afar. She gets up while it is still night. She provides food for her family and portions for her female servants, which in this case would be your children. She considers a field and buys it. Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. So now we're talking about investing. She sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for her tasks. She sees that her trading is profitable, and her lamp does not go out at night. In her hand, she holds the distaff and grasps the spindle with her fingers. She opens her arms to the poor and extends her hands out to the needy. So she's doing business, and she's also getting involved in the community and being charitable.
Yes.
She makes coverings for her. When it snows, she has no fear for her household, for all of them are clothed in scarlet. She makes coverings for her bed. She is clothed in fine linen and purple. In other words, they're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Her husband is respected at the city gate, where he takes a seat among the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them, and supplies the merchants with sashes. She is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come. She speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. She watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children arise and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Honor her for all that her hands have done, and let her works bring her praise at the city gate. So,
okay. And on this,
Mhm.
I think it's interesting too that it shows that the woman not only has her family and her relationship, marriage, and all that, but then, as I guess around the same time, probably as her husband would start to be getting out of the primary workforce and having that sort of stress and whatnot, getting into a retirement sort of phase at least, she'd then be getting into a sort of passion project that would
There you
also
go.
have its own finances.
Yep.
And it shows it, but it's not just that she'd still be able to have a job like that, but also that in that sort of way, that method, it's a lot less strenuous, I imagine, than women who go straight into the workforce or big businesses and companies,
Correct.
etc.
Correct. So, yeah, things to take away from the scripture that you
Mhm.
nailed it right in the head there is she works for the home,
Mhm.
and everything she does is expansionist. And she pretty much just looks out for everybody. She's taking care of people. Everyone's very grateful for her.
Yes.
There's no scripture where anybody's calling out the dad and being like, "Hey, you're great, Dad. Good job doing your job." I guess. I mean, I'm sure there are, but it's this one. It's like a real celebration. Like she's some jewel of the kingdom. Like praise is lapped upon her. She's like the reason for the
Mhm.
house.
Well, the family matriarch, I've seen that in real life plenty of
Mhm.
times, and it's always beautiful to see. And again, I've experienced it with my own, especially on my dad's side with my grandparents, and grandma kept us all together.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But the thing is, now that we have far less time necessary to run a household, it's
Mhm.
left people with a lot of freedom, and freedom
Mhm.
gives you more choices, and more choices makes you feel less fulfilled, which means you feel like you have to do something more. That's why I'm
Right.
not big on the trad wives, unless the trad wives start doing what I'm going to suggest. All right.
Okay.
But here we go. There's lots of out of house socialization. You bring in good money, and there's all growth, no risk. The
Mhm.
house isn't depending on her, really.
Right.
Like in the scripture, they kind of are for the clothing, but everything she does is like a bonus, which is why she gets all the
Yeah.
praise. Like if dad is bread, she is cake.
Mhm.
Everybody loves cake. People aren't really like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, well, people miss bread when it's not there, but people love cake when it is there. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. Exactly. That's a good analogy.
thank you. All right. So here's an example of my proposed timeline. You start at
Mhm.
22. You want 5 kids. So this ability that young people have, like age 18 to 24, where they just stay up all night. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's actually there's there for a reason.
That
That's
makes
to take
so
care of
much
babies.
sense.
If you're in your 30s, you're already run out of this instinct. It's gone. Like, but
Yeah.
this like party all night thing and just go to work the next day or go do whatever the next day, be functional is a
Mhm.
thing of
Mhm.
the youth, and that's what this is for.
It does make sense.
Most
A lot
things
of
about women make sense. Turns out, if you really
Yeah.
just think about it and have like a good faith attitude.
Right.
So red-pilled manosphere men, women are like a mystery to them, and they hate women. But if they just think for like 5 seconds, everything that women do makes sense. Anyways,
Think in good faith.
exactly. Well, that's the key to a relationship. And again,
Mhm.
like men see women as parasites in
Mhm.
the modern age, and women see men as a threat.
Right.
No trust there.
No.
I mean, they got a point. Like, there's good points. There's facts.
Yeah.
But without
but-
trust, you can't turn those facts into a civilization. I'm sorry,
Exactly. We need to be on the same side to team up and work together, not be against each other.
that's right. If I could high five you through the camera, I would. But
Yeah.
I just lost the camera. Anyways, 50% mom at 30, right? So now the kid is 8 years old. The first kid is 8 years old. The kid can talk, clean, cook simple things, can be left at home alone. One of the most useful things that a kid at this age can do is just keep an eye on the other kids.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you might have, and also your youngest kid, if you had a kid every year, your youngest kid would be about 3, which means
Mhm.
walking, kind of talking, probably talking. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know anything about babies. Men are not really interested in kids until the kid turns like 12, 13, when the kid starts actually thinking. Which is why, like, at the next one, the 25. Okay, so I'll finish the 50% mom.
Mhm.
Maybe she takes up the hobby of just sewing denim jeans, right? Like they're going through jeans like crazy. Now she has a sewing machine and reams of denim, and now she's making pants. She's making jean jackets.
Adjust the hand-me-downs as needed.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. At the 25% mom at 34, the first kid is now 12, which means that they are fully competent at babysitting if you've raised them properly.
Yeah.
let's say the mom just starts selling denim jeans on Etsy now. So she's staying busy, but she's now doing this thing. Now at 38, the 5% mom, her first kid is now 16, which means that kid is basically a parent. She now has parent number 3.
Yeah.
Which means you can almost completely offload everything that 16-year-old. When you're 16 and you first get your license, you want to drive everywhere. Parents could take advantage of that. Like, hey, run to the grocery store, go to this. Hey, you can borrow the car for a date on Saturday if you can take Billy to the soccer practice.
Interesting. This was not my experience, or like with my friend group, we all put off getting our licenses as long as we could, and then even when we first did, we still preferred to have our parents drive us places as much as possible.
Yeah, you were.
There was a fear of driving because we all just like, it's dangerous. I could die.
Well, you got to do what you got to do.
That yeah,
but that's why I'm saying like Western. That's why I kind of laugh at it. It's like Westerners are so backwards with the way they live. It's crazy to me. I had my first job when I was 14. My first real job.
Oh, wow.
I the day I turned 14, I went to the principal's office and asked for a work permit. Got my work permit. Started working 3 days a week. I've never not worked. Yeah. And I had my license when I was 15 and 9 months, which is the earliest time I could get it.
Okay.
I bought a car pretty soon after that.
Wow.
Yeah. Time waits for no man.
That's true.
And I wait for no time. So anyways, this is why I have the stipulation that you have to raise your kids right. You have to raise your kids to be adults, responsible adults. 8 years old, they're doing their own laundry. They can, like an 8-year-old can take a thing out of the refrigerator and put it in the microwave. So if you've done meal prep, like your 1 day a week of meal prep, your 8-year-old can now feed themselves the entire week.
But family
easy
meal.
peasy. Yeah, and it's not that much extra work to make like a 3x portion of chili, right? Or a 3x portion of lasagna.
Yeah.
But anyways, I won't get into like the specific strategies that women can do. I was pretty much able to make a full Thanksgiving dinner when I was 15. Like,
interesting. That's impressive.
Yeah, you could do it if you try. You just got to raise your kids to be grown-ups. Don't let your childhood is a stupid Western concept. I don't understand why childhood. It's just time where you're just useless and wasting your time. No, that's why the Asians are just cleaning the clocks of everybody. Like we're driving, we're studying, we're becoming we doctor now. Look at me. I'm doctor. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say when I was growing up, there was obviously Western world again, but there was people would often say, "Oh, you only get to be a kid once, and you'll miss out, and before you know it, you won't be a child any longer." And so there was sort of a push to embrace and enjoy and take advantage of childhood in ways that sometimes, because I remember I would get frustrated, like I want to do more things. And I'm like, no, you have to be a kid while you still can, because it's not that much of your life.
Yeah, that's the problem, man. Where do I even begin with that? You're only a child once. I want to challenge anyone who has seen a man with a successful career, who is like 45 to 65. And you ask yourself, is this man a child? Does he have like a childlike joy about him? This successful man is probably in a speedboat, fishing, and just living life. People think they're like, as people get older, they tend to get happier. So childhood is actually the worst years of your life. Like you are useless. You are useless. You are poor. You have if you have a car, it's a piece of crap. You have no freedom. You have massive expectations. Yes, you are only young once. Actually, my brother used to make fun of that whole YOLO thing. You only live once.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he would say like, YOLO, I got a really good rate on a mortgage because you only live once. You got to be responsible. So,
that would have been a good way to use that. Yes.
So I was doing accounting for my dad's small business at home when I was 10 years old. I wasn't mowing lawns, although I did mow some lawns with some friends. We made some money. It was fun. But I was doing data entry for taxes, and then I was doing data entry for business accounting.
Dang.
Made good money, man. It's like, you want to clear like $100 on a weekend, do a bunch of businesses taxes and accounting.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it's fun. Anyways, That's why the Western way of raising kids makes people say, "Oh, this is impossible to do. How can you possibly have 50% of your time at the age of 30 with an 8-year-old kid?" It's like that's because the West raises children to be as useless as possible. Go to any like Amish or Mennonite community, and the women are all working, and they're probably working more than 50% of the time, and because their kids are working too.
Yeah.
There's no babysitter. The babysitter is the work you're doing.
That'll
keep them busy. Yeah. But anyways, all right. Examples of amazing women. So this is two women that I noticed when I was in Maryland.
Okay.
Biggs and Featherbell. They're based out of Gambrels, Maryland, which is where I went to high school, just down the road from me.
Oh.
So these women make soap, and you could see in the slide the early years, 2003. They're just in a KitchenAid in their kitchen.
Yeah.
They're doing. I think it says 2009. They're at crafts fairs.
Yes.
All right. By the time it's 2015, which is 12 years after they first started noodling around in their kitchen with a hobby, 12 years after that, that is a freaking factory.
Yeah.
And then a few years after that, 4 years after that, it's a better factory.
Dang.
Okay. Let's say these women started this when, I don't know how old these women look to you. I would say in their 30s.
Sure.
Right?
I don't know.
What do you think? Put an age on them.
I think I'm bad at judging ages because my parents look young.
Take a shot.
Take a
shot.
Sure, 30s.
30s. Okay. I'm going to say 35. Let's say they're 35.
Yeah.
In this picture, the 2009 one, which means that they're probably 40, 41, 42 before they had this factory cranking stuff out. The average age of a starter the average age of a person who starts a successful business is about 42.
Huh, that's an interesting fact. A little tidbit.
Correct. Yeah, this is interesting because it's not a thing of the young. This whole I'm a young whiz kid with a new idea. It's a bunch of bull crap. All those businesses usually fail. It's so exceptional when they don't fail that's all we talk about.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So they're sold in these really posh. Oh, go ahead.
I was just wondering how our mindset got so warped and messed up and flipped. But that's a topic for another day, I suppose.
I'll give you the TLDR on that, is that Americans and Westerners are bathed in liberal propaganda from advertisements from birth until death. Like Disney, that's why I singled out Disney as one of the worst things that happen to people, women. It's worse than porn is for men. Anyways, yeah. So they went from humble beginnings to a factory and warehouse in 16 years, and there's a map of the nation where all their stuff is sold.
Yeah. Wow.
It's at Giant, Wegmans, Love's, Earth Fare, Mom, all that stuff. Right? They're in stores. That's a real business. They might be making. Oh, go ahead.
That's the whole East Coast, basically, except for Florida.
Pretty much. They probably make more money than their husbands do. I want to venture a guess.
Oh.
They probably do. That's a really successful business they have right there.
Dang.
To be getting that kind of space.
But that's exceptional, yeah?
Doesn't have to be.
Oh, okay.
Why would it have to be? When people say it's an exception, they're basing it on other people's experience, right? But
the average.
Yeah, and if you gauge yourself by the average, then you'll never be happy or successful or be you.
Sure, but I'm just saying that it's not necessarily realistic to assume that one would be as successful.
This is super realistic because they did it. They had no special advantage. They're just two housewives. So do not rule your possibilities on averages. You have to rule your possibilities on what do they have, what do they have to do it with, and what can I do?
Okay. I'll have to make note of that.
Because if you average yourself in with all the other losers, you're just going to always be a loser.
I mean, that makes sense. The average people tend to be, but it's just kind of how it is, isn't it?
Ignore statistics. Ignore the statistics are like an indicator. They're not destiny.
Oh, I like that. Okay, yeah.
Statistics do not rule your life on statistics. You will never be happy. You will always be a loser if you do that. Okay. It is an indicator. It just tells you a thing.
Indicator.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not destiny.
All right. I have to pin that.
So this is super realistic because all it is them just working. This is also not a very short amount of time. It was 16 years. So they built this thing organically over 16 years. If you did something for 16 years and kept working on it, like that was your thing that you did, Yeah, you would grow to this easily. Yes. Anyways, what a family should be: support each other's aspirations. The timeline accelerates if you have more family support. So you can almost go from 100% to like 25% almost instantly if you have grandma, grandpa, cousins, uncles, nephews, nieces. Yep. Yeah. You don't even have to ever be 100% either. Right? You might just be the night shift or something, because obviously your family members can't be hanging out at night unless you want them to. I mean, it's your family; you can do whatever you want, but you could take shifts. You can instantly go to this if you have a good family structure.
Right. Well, and this would be something where a family could easily become its own little village as well, correct?
I mean, that's possible. Is that a possibility? I mean, you don't have to ask me if it's possible.
Well,
it depends on what you can do, right? So this is what I'm talking about. Like, women need to be very selective of their family, and marriage is, who they date. Women can control who they date. Men can control who's if they're getting married.
Yeah. Okay.
So date good guys who want to do that. And this is a good thing to show those guys. What do you think about this, guys? Right? So you can go from. So those women could have gone. Let's say they started noodling around when their first kid was 8 years old, right? Which would put them at 30. I don't know when they had kids, but let's say you got married at 22, which is about the latest I would recommend to really look into getting married and start having kids. Then you add 8 years to that, so that's 30, and then it takes about another. I guess that's when it would start. So you'd probably be in this business in your early 40s. Yeah, just about on track. Just about on track.
Wow.
All right, so this is how husbands can help. All right. Be there and help raise the children, right? If she's tired, you're tired. Get your ass to work. So lazy. Lazy Westerners. Tell me, she should have at least one day off a week, or she will kill you.
Aww.
She will hate your guts. This is why people get divorced, is because they're not there for each other. It's like, what difference does it make?
Yeah.
Right? So if he's not there, you're just priming her. That's why guys who also use the averages. By the way, when you use those averages earlier, I'm adamantly against that, because that's exactly what red-pilled manosphere guys do to say to never get married and go MGTOW. So if you detest someone, think about why they're so pathetic and detestable, and then you might be able to see that in yourself, and you're like, oh, I do that. That's usually what I do. I point at someone and says, man, you're a pathetic loser, and I'm like, wait a second, all those things that make him a pathetic loser are all things I do.
Well, the difference between a hero and a villain is usually how they react to their situations. Their backstory is not actually where they come from or what they're dealing with.
Yes.
Yeah. Same here.
Yes, I suppose, yeah. But also don't look at people's statistics. This is why people who have undue confidence do so well in life, because they're like, I'm the exception. I'm going to make it. And with that attitude, they tend to. And if not, they'll be like, well, it didn't work out this time. I'll try again. Whereas a person who's like, well, on average, I'm not going to make it, so it's pretty tough for me.
Sure, but when you think you're exceptional and you stick to it enough times, but it never plays out, I mean, at some point, like, maybe I am average or below.
Well, the guy who's making... dude, below average people make successful businesses and do very well in life all the time. In fact, I would say that their ignorance of their own limitations is one of their greatest assets. So don't think it's destiny. I would say that someone who is very aware of their chances has far less chance. Let me just put it this way. A lot of people don't get married and they're like, oh, I want to find a husband. I got 120. I got a 110 IQ. Where's my husband? And like, dude with like 95 IQ is like, yeah, I've been married since 18. Hell yeah, I do plumbing. It's like, this guy's making it. Right? Don't overthink it.
Yeah.
Don't overthink it. Because your thoughts can be your own betrayer.
Ignorance. We need more ignorance, I guess.
That absolute hopeful ignorance is what makes America great. We didn't know that we could fly an airplane until we flew a freaking airplane. We just thought we could.
Fair enough.
2 bicycle mechanics.
And now
you just got to try stuff. I was fully mediocre when I was in high school. Fully mediocre. Now I'm an engineer and I make like 150,000+. I don't know. I don't keep track of it anymore.
See, I peaked back then, and that's how I tend to feel, at least.
Doesn't have to be.
Ideally.
Doesn't have
to
be.
It's just been a struggle.
No. Just say, I have not. The best is yet to come. Just say it to yourself.
I mean, I don't know.
See, listen, you don't even have enough faith in yourself to have better than what you have. How are you ever going to have better?
I'm working on it.
You got to work on it. We'll talk about it later. You got to fix
okay.
that attitude. You got to fix that attitude. It is a bummer. It is a bummer. It's a bummer for you mostly. Don't do it. Yeah,
it is indeed.
Yeah, get out of your own head. Just blissful ignorance. Things are going to go great. That's why people who believe in like Jesus and God do so well sometimes, because when they really say like, God has a plan for me. That's there's a that the IQ chart meme.
Yeah, the bell curve.
Right, that IQ chart meme on the middle part. It's like, well, statistically, I'm going to do this. Statistically, on average this, average that. And the guy in the dumb side is like, God's got a plan for me, and the guy in the genius side is God has a plan for me.
Yeah,
100%.
I've seen those.
Anyways, we're getting off topic.
Yes.
So be there to. So you're helping raise kids, and when I said that the phases are complementary in life, that means the dad can be there for logistical support at the first, right? He's just there to maybe take a shift watching the baby,
right,
or get her stuff, or arrange things, make her life easy, right? Make her life easy. But then at 12, that's when the dad kind of takes over, so he comes back again. So all hands on deck when it's baby. And then mom transitions them over to the dad when it's like 12.
Right.
No, because at that point they need more guidance than care.
That's true, and the fathers are better at that. I believe there's actual evidence or research rather to support that.
Single dads do pretty well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, single dads do pretty well. Because that's what you need in the modern world. But that's another topic. But yes, that's a time when you could the wife can just get them off their plate.
Right, and the overprotection of the mother otherwise is overbearing and actually harmful at times.
Yeah, ladies are there to like make sure your caveman babies aren't getting like eaten by a saber-toothed tiger, but we don't have saber-toothed tigers anymore, so we don't really need caveman mama mode for
the
very
kids
much.
get older, and that's when the dad needs to guide and protect, but not overrule.
Well, that's why men kind of rule the modern world, because our modern world, the cost for risk taking is so low now that it's better to go in like with what I was saying, the blind ignorance and self-confidence.
Right.
Because if you do it enough, it'll work out.
Yeah.
Just keep trying.
And in the past, men would have died off a lot because of it. I guess that's not nearly the same rate now.
Oh yeah, correct. Like the guys who 1,000 years ago would have gone a Viking, right? Viking means voyage, more or less. They would go on raids. Some of them may come back, some of them won't.
Yeah.
Right. Well, nowadays, when a guy wants to go a Viking, it's like, I want to start a business. And it's like, well, I've lost some money, but whatever. I've learned some things and met some people. So instead of dying, we actually get a lot of benefits out of it. We own the world now rewards risk taking. So that's a good way to raise
what
people.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah, that would not have been true 100 years ago.
But now
nobody would say that. It's like, what doesn't kill you is permanently deformed your leg. And you now can't walk or work, and now you're begging on the street. And you're a ward on your family.
Slowly dying painfully.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyways, the man is there to support and fund her dreams. So that Biggs and Featherbell thing, like the man who's working a day job can buy the KitchenAid mixer. He can he can pay for the supplies. And just check on her, make sure she's okay. That's it. Just make sure she's happy, make sure she's well supplied. She's, a little bit like a pet. All people that you care for are like pets in a way. It's a good way of thinking about people.
That is a good way, and especially now with the mentality of pets are family, which I do think pets are family. They're just not the same as human family, but people are conflating. But regardless, it is still family.
Yep. And let her know that you're always there for her, because ladies can get nervous and neurotic about things. Yes. And it's good to just shut that down. Be like, nope, I'm here for you. Everything's going to be okay. Yeah. Yep.
Self-saboteur within our own minds.
Correct. The best asset you'll have to be successful in life is a good attitude. So here are my final thoughts.
Okay.
All right. Partnerships are never equal, but they can achieve equilibrium. So people are getting what they want, right? Is it worth it? Is it worth it to be married? Is it worth it to have a wife? Is it worth it to have a husband? It better be. Most of that person isn't working hard. It's pretty easy to be a good husband or wife these days. There's a toe in a pickle jar at the Mutter Museum. Do you know what the Mutter Museum is?
I feel like I recognize the name, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
Don't worry about it. It is a museum in Philadelphia of medical oddities. This toe is the toe of a woman who worked a spinning wheel, because you have to put your like
wow.
toe
Yeah,
on it
yeah.
to keep it going. This toe had become so deformed
Uh-huh.
that it had like grown like 8 times the size, and it was such a medical oddity that when she died, they put it in the pickle jar to show off.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to be a husband and a wife these days.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day, it would be like, I've got to abuse my body so much they're pickling my toe and showing it to people 100 years from now. And now it's like, I got to wake up at 8 o'clock on a Saturday. Oh, man, what a sacrifice.
Right.
Yeah, is to recognize that we're all very lazy. But time also brings urgency, so your wife is going to come first at first. If you're having kids, that's the way it's going to go. Just, she's putting in her time, you got to put in your time. And
right.
There's going to be a lot of hard work, but a good life is not something that you get in your youth. Good life is something that you get 40s, 50s onward, right? And you have to be very selfless with your work, because that's the only way you're going to have a partnership. If it's transactional, it will end. It's not how to build a family. All right, that went way long, but my final thoughts on all this stuff is Asian families already do this. Asian families do all of this. We raise our kids to be adults, take care of themselves. Usually the wife has a sideline that she's working on. We have extended families that are there, and we have friends, just neighbors. Actually, if you even look at some of the most awful conditions, like the Kowloon walled city of Hong Kong, people tell stories about that where everyone kind of knew each other because it's just such a tight-in tenement.
Right.
But they have the sentimentality that like, oh yeah, I'll watch their kid and I'll watch that. You know, we'll help each other out.
Right.
And Westerners need to not do that. One of the reasons I like to pick out volunteering as being a good thing to find a good mate is that you're finding someone who is willing to work and help someone else without anything in return.
Right. Out of the goodness of their heart.
Yeah, because it's the right thing to do. Let me just pause this music thing there. So it blows my mind that Westerners it doesn't surprise me that Westerners have so many problems. Because they are so transactional and they worship their youth. They're hyper transactional. Like, what's in it for me?
Right.
They don't try things. I wish everyone could just watch a young Asian person, and they're just trying stuff all the time. They're just trying stuff and just seeing if it. And when something sticks and they're getting something out of it, they'll just keep doing it, and they'll do it super duper hard. Like, they'll go for it.
Interesting.
Whereas I feel like Westerners are it's like they're living in a theme park. They're just waiting to be served. It's like, wait in line for my job. I'll wait in line for my husband. I'll just wait in line. And
those who do try things, there's almost too much to try. And this is something I personally have suffered from and still sometimes do. Is I have too many options of things I could do that I end up doing nothing or nothing substantial at least.
Yep. Can't do that. Just pick a thing and do it.
It's so hard to pick one thing though. There's so many options.
Ask me and I'll pick it for you.
Okay.
Okay, I decided to become an engineer because someone said, I'm really smart. I'm going to be an engineer. And I was like, I want to be smart. I'll be an engineer too. Fuck it. And I just enrolled and I got into the school and then I became an engineer. I didn't put any thought into it. Except that I looked into how much money they'd make.
Well, fair, but
yeah, I looked into how much money. I went and just checked online. I was like, how much is it going to cost me? How much money is this? Which is something that no college-bound person seems to do. Which is why wild to me.
Yeah.
Westerners are just, I don't know if it's coasting. I don't understand them. Like, I'm in America. I'm an American ostensibly, but I don't feel like I understand Americans very well. It's just like, why do you guys do the things you do?
I'm at that point too. And especially with the college stuff. I mean, I only wanted to go to college for science. And then when I wasn't doing that, I kept having peers tell me, oh, you should go for English or literature or something or foreign language or something. Like, what am I going to do with that? I can already write. I can already learn the other languages and speak them, etc. I don't need to spend money for that and then be in debt. And then turns out my friends who did finish university and didn't have to drop for various reasons, they're still in a lot of debt for degrees they aren't even using actively.
Well, that's what I said. Like, people just follow, women follow the default path when they're not sure. So a bunch of other women are going to go into foreign language. I'll go into foreign language too. Yeah. Like, when I made a decision to become an engineer, I at least looked into, I was really good at math. I was super good at math, calculus. I was ahead in the textbook. So I would do stuff for fun. because I would talk to the math teachers like, hey, we're doing this integral thing. Is there a way to do a double integral? So instead of getting like
Yeah.
the area under the
Yeah.
curve, you're getting the surface area of a surface.
Mhm.
And he's like, oh yeah, go to chapter 39.
Oh,
You know, like
heck
we'll
yeah.
never see that. I never got into that until calculus 2 in college, but I was just doing it.
Right. No,
I,
yeah, I
I,
get that.
I liked cryptography and that sort of stuff. Basically, I had the aptitude.
Mhm.
So everything I knew, and then I saw it had good money, and then I took a look at what they did, and I said that looked pretty cool.
See, and that's another issue I have with our school system, which is a topic that came up in our first stream last Friday. But
Yeah,
because the aptitude thing, it clearly existed among my peers and I to varying degrees, but the way our school was set up, and I think most public schools were at the time, and I imagine have only gotten worse so since then, it didn't really help us other than set us up to get into what's technically a good university, but beyond that, it didn't really help us hone our skills or figure out exactly which realms we wanted to work in or what would fit us really well, etc. Instead, we just knew we were above average in scholastic sorts of ways, and we thought we were great because of it, and then we all ended up with gifted kid syndrome.
yeah. I'd say with life, it's about 10% information, and then 90% dedication is what makes you successful. And of course, people
Really?
say luck. Yeah, people say luck, but
Mhm.
luck is just when the dedication pays off. Like you need dedication to
Mm,
make the luck happen. Like you're
sure,
not
but
gonna let's say somebody really famous noticed you or something and says like, "Oh, this
mhm,
YouTube channel is really great." Well, to get noticed, first off, you'd have to have been making videos for a while. Uh, second off, for you to
mhm.
get anything out of the noticing, you have to continue making videos for a while, right?
Sure, but
There's,
certainly
there's,
people could keep at it and just it'd never pay off, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so that's luck. If you don't have that, you are not lucky.
Well, I mean, what do you mean by pay off, right? Like being wildly successful. Let's say you're an author or something, and you just
Mhm,
you work at it, you work at it, you work at it, and you get
mhm,
published, but nothing ever really takes off very much.
right.
That's just called a job.
Well, but if it's not even paying bills, I mean.
No, you should do something else maybe then. But the thing is, you can't know if whether or not to do that unless
Mhm.
you really put everything into it. So even if, um, all right, to you, how long would be a long time to publish books? Like, how many books would you have to publish before you're like, well, this thing isn't working out for me?
It's not about how many books, it'd be more about
Longer, whatever.
sales.
I'm just trying to think of what is your gauge for when you'd quit.
When I wouldn't have to rely on anyone else to afford my own living
Oh no, I
expenses.
meant quit your dreams.
Oh, quit my dreams?
Yeah, how long would it take for you to quit your dreams?
I mean, writing isn't my dreams, but
Well, whatever it is then. But what I'm
oh,
saying though is the solution that I have to that is that's why
mhm,
you have the husband that I listed in the presentation. That's the whole point. Is you can this wife can continue doing things with 100% dedication, like
mhm,
as her kids get older, and
mhm,
she will have a safety net. Like if my wife wanted to keep writing and she just never like published, I
mhm.
wouldn't care. She's happy. She's doing her thing. It's not coming
Okay,
for her.
interesting.
So
Well,
that's why
so
that's why the women get the absolute freedom by having.
mhm,
That's why a husband is actually not a lack of freedom. He's the ultimate liberator.
right. A provider in that way as well, I suppose. I know for me, the ultimate dream had always been to go into, the sciences, usually, geared towards biology or physics, one of those 2, or maybe a blend of both or something. I always expected to go beyond just, bachelor's and end up with master's, doctorate, whatever, and be in that realm, that world, doing things, but it just yeah.
The thing is, I don't know if that dream would actually make you fulfilled necessarily, because then like look at the day to day of like a professor, or just like look at yourself and be like, or a lab tech or a lab
Mhm,
coordinator, manager. A lot of ladies get into the workforce and they're like, this is going to fulfill my dreams. It's like, no, it's not. Men get into the workforce and we're like, it's a paycheck, pays.
interesting.
That's why that's all I did. That's all I did. I looked into
Well
engineering and I said, I can do
mhm.
that and it pays well. Check, check, done. I'm out.
At
And
this
that's
point oh, what?
Oh, sorry. That's what I'm saying is that's why men are more stable. They're not picky. They're not like, I don't care about
Interesting.
my dreams. I don't have like my dreams are to just relax. I don't know. Like men are not
Okay.
burdened with a tremendous need to fulfill. Like the family is kind of our purpose a lot of times.
Well, that's the
So
same for both in a way, I suppose, or it should be at least. But I guess women lost sight of that along the way, thinking, oh, that men, they prioritize or they want their jobs. That's what matters to them. But I guess really all
No, we don't.
along,
Yeah, we don't
it
care.
wasn't that at all.
I would say about 5% of men actually consider their career to be super duper important when
Interesting.
they're
Well,
past the age of 30. Like
and
when you're
at
in your
the
20s, it's like super important to you. It's like, oh, this is
mhm,
me. Because guys, when they're a rookie, they're gonna be like, this is who I am. I'm an
mhm,
engineer. I
mhm.
always bring it up at every conversation, which is something I still do. But
No.
um, it's an indication of my mindset more than anything. But
Okay.
men, once you get to 30, you're kind of sober on your career.
Mhm.
That's men and women. You get sort of sobriety, and you're like, oh yeah, this is just a job. And
Hmm.
when men find that out, they're like, all right, I'll just go fishing this weekend. When women find that out, they're like, I just gave up my entire life to be a middle manager.
Yeah.
I want to die. Like that's what women do. Men are okay
Yeah.
with that. We're like, yeah, all right, I'll go fishing. It's all good.
Well, I guess the men still have more of a family life going on, though.
We don't have
Usually.
to. That's why
Oh.
MGTOW is kind of winning out over strong independent women, is because men could just die. We don't like we don't have that much sense of self-preservation or legacy.
Hmm.
Like historically, most men would die
Right. Right.
before they were able to breed.
Mhm.
So we don't have the genetic imperative. I mean, we have the genetic imperative to breed, but
Right. But it's not the
imagine if
same.
men were really bothered by their own mortality or their own lack of giving a legacy. We'd be so neurotic we couldn't get anything done because we're so disposable.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, we don't have that. Like at 30, at the age of 30 for a guy, it's like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, my dreams are all kind of stupid, and I guess this is a paycheck.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a good mindset, honestly, because there's
Yeah,
nothing in
sounds
life that's
like
going to
it.
fulfill you
Right. Right.
that's like other than other people, right? Helping other
Yeah.
people.
Well, I know for
So,
myself at this point, the priority is to somehow manage my way into family life like that. The issue has just been the whole hunting process, finding someone decent and
oh
willing.
yeah,
But I don't know. It's just so enlightening, I guess you could say. That's yeah. Um,
always have a yeah. I would say always have a good attitude.
yeah. Well,
I'd say
there's so
with the
much.
attitude you had before, that's going to be man repellent. It's really going to be life repellent. As you're not going to
Yeah, it has
you have to
been.
believe you have to believe that you're going to be successful and really believe in it,
Hmm.
or else you won't have any chance. Like it's like a samurai fighting,
Yeah.
like he's on the last redoubt of the castle, and he's
Hmm.
like 1 versus 1,000. Like if you just gave up and died, I mean, I suppose you could do that, but you're not going to know how far you could have gone.
Hmm.
Like, let me put it this way: is if you put it all on the table, you leave it
Hmm.
all out on the field, and you
Yeah.
just try your hardest,
Hmm.
and you're ready to try again, you will never have a regret in your life. Because so even though the
Hmm.
person is like, well, it never worked out for me, I never published a book,
Hmm.
even though wrote and worked and hard, worked hard and worked hard and worked hard, uh, they're gonna. This is actually real. They're gonna be a lot happier
Hmm.
and not gonna have a lot of regrets. Like the guy who was the drummer for the Beatles before they made it big,
Yeah.
significantly more happy than the Beatles. He's like, he's got no regrets. He's like, well, I came
Hmm.
really close to glory and I worked hard and it didn't work out. That's okay. Rest of
Oh.
life is still good. Whereas like the Beatles are like, oh, we could have done so much more. Why do we have to break up? Oh, that dang Yoko. Oh
Mhm.
no, we could have gotten more. It's like, no, it's not a good attitude to have. Of like, you just be happy with what you have and then
Yeah.
look for more, but never give up. It's a
I
weird
mean,
paradox that you have to never give up, but you also have to be happy with what you have.
why
Content, I
is
guess, is the
life
word.
just paradox after paradox?
Says the mystery. Uh, But we'll talk about that more another time. Let's get into your stuff. We are way
Yes,
late on this,
we
but I'm gonna
are.
add it to the stream and we're just gonna go through.
Yeah. Alright. So, luckily, I didn't put too much into this since we did go over time, more than expected.
Word.
Yeah, well, let's just look at some makeup that ladies have put on, the
All
before,
right,
the
so
makeup, and after.
before we jump into it,
Yes,
let's tell the viewers why are we looking at this.
because makeup is essentially witchcraft.
So the contention among a lot of guys is that there's a fine line between
Mhm.
makeup and lying. So is
Yes.
makeup lying? Is that a form of lying? A lot of guys get hoodwinked. Is it the
I mean
MySpace angles before MySpace angles existed? Uh, it's lying right there in front of your face with your own eyeballs to see.
Mhm,
Or
mhm.
is it fair game? We'll find out.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
All right. So we're just gonna go through a bunch of pictures I found on the internet, before and after.
Ah,
What do you think here?
okay. It's
Just
not bad.
accentuating or too much?
That's not bad. I mean,
Not bad?
no, because there's nothing offensive really on the left side,
Mhm.
right?
And still the
She's still
same?
pretty. Yeah,
Yes.
she's still pretty. She's given herself cheekbones, like accentuate the cheekbones, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
mean, the
think her
lips are
nose did it
red. I mean, we know the lips don't really look like that.
too.
Also, red lipstick is pretty risky. There's a
Yeah. I was gonna ask your opinion on red lipstick for ladies.
uh,
Is
it
it worth
can
it?
make you it can make you look like Ronald McDonald if you don't do it right, and if it's not the shade for you.
Interesting.
Yeah, she just put that lipstick on that left picture. Just imagine the lipstick on the right picture on the left picture there.
Yeah, yeah.
It'd probably look really goofy, but since she's got the
Yeah.
whole ensemble going,
Mhm.
it's to be okay.
Okay, okay.
It's not I don't think this is bad. This is like I'm going to a dance or a formal. I would not
Mhm,
wanna if this lady's walking around every day looking like that, then it's like, "Okay,
mhm.
now you're lying." But I can tell this
Okay.
is makeup. I can tell
So,
it's
like,
makeup.
for an
That's
event, this is good,
oh, yeah, totally
just
fine.
not every day.
No, then you're kinda lying
Okay,
a little bit.
interesting.
Also, that can't be good
Okay.
for your skin.
Well, no, but a lot of ladies
Oh,
don't care.
man.
Yeah.
Oh, she really did a overhaul on that one.
Mhm. Go to bed with one, wake up to another.
Yeah, woof.
But
I
it is
mean,
pretty.
I like that she's smiling in the picture without the makeup. That's
Yeah?
fine. Yeah, you don't yeah, a smile is the most attractive thing a woman can wear.
Really? Okay, interesting.
Yeah, is that is
Learn
yeah,
something
yeah.
new.
No, we dude, there's nothing more unattractive than a lady with a bad attitude. Or like RBF, like she's got, "Oh, I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
RBF, it's not my fault." It's like, "Yeah, we see you not putting any effort in though to be
Mhm,
pleasant,
mhm.
so you're not gonna get pleasant
Even with the
results."
hair messy, though, like, you'd still
I mean, I didn't say she was, like, super pretty. I mean, in the left
Sure.
picture,
I was
right?
just
Like,
surprised, like, hmm.
she could run a brush through that. I mean, I don't the hair is probably the least offensive change that she's made because 'cause she's gone from
Mhm.
a character from the Nickelodeon show Recess to
Yeah.
looking like Gina Carano.
Mhm, mhm.
So, yeah, it's a bit dang, the eyebrows are totally different. Yes,
Interesting.
the
And
most
look at her,
offensive
like,
thing, though, is the
the nose as
shaped
well,
face
yeah.
is what I think. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, she even changes the whole shape of her nose, like, it's smaller.
Oh, yeah, yeah, she does. I didn't even
And her
notice that.
eyebrows.
Is there some photography trickery going on in here?
I'm not sure because her eyes almost look larger too, but she could just have them more open.
Also, she's hitting a pose with her face. I guarantee if she smiled like she was in the left picture, the illusion would just disappear. Like that is it's like
Mm.
perspective picture a little bit.
Right.
That you
Mhm.
have to look at it from the correct angle or the whole thing
Yeah.
just whole illusion is gone.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a photography
Okay.
tricks are even in my opinion,
Oh,
even bigger lie than
yeah.
makeup.
Yeah. That's
All right,
fair.
see what's
Okay.
next.
Okay, turn.
Oh my
The
gosh.
eyes. Now, I don't know how much of them looking more pointed up is her holding her skin up potentially with her hands at her face or
It
not,
could be.
but
I mean,
regardless.
she doesn't look bad in the left picture. That's presentable. I like her eyes. They're very pretty.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I'd argue she was looking to accentuate her eyes in particular with all the
for
black makeup
sure.
around them
For
and the
sure.
lashes.
Yeah, the dark eyes probably just a bit of foundation or something, I guess could fix that. But they're not like offensive. It's I was actually
Mhm.
going, good gosh, because the picture on the right. Like
Uh-huh.
she looks like a Egyptian
Yeah,
pharaoh lady. I don't know. Lady pharaoh.
exactly.
What do
She's
you call it?
pretty. I mean, she's pretty on the left too. It's just a different kind of pretty.
Yeah, she looks pretty normal on the left. She looks pretty normal. She looks pretty
Yeah,
normal.
cute.
Yeah, I'm not really into either of these, but
Okay, interesting, interesting. Let's go on, let's go on.
all right, let's do it. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, here.
Holy. Okay, this one's egregious. Is she doing that pose on the left on purpose?
I'm not sure.
Yes, but this is bad. Okay, so she's completely changed her pallor and
Mhm,
simulated having healthy skin. It's one thing to
mhm.
like kind of smooth things out, and then it's another thing to just have a different face. These are different faces. These are different faces, straight up. Now, the one on the left, the picture on the left, is
Mhm.
not smiling. So maybe she
Yeah,
has like lovely cheekbones and all that. That doesn't look like
right.
she's painted the cheekbones
Mhm.
on the picture on the right. But yeah, I would take exception to this. This is too much work.
Too much?
So, yeah, this is like you've been fully painted like a figurine.
Right. She even changed her eyebrow color, huh?
That's true. That's true. I mean, the one on the left
Yeah.
actually could be quite pretty. It's just that she overdid it
Yeah.
and tried to look like Jessica Simpson or something. I'm dating myself there, but yeah, it looks pretty salacious. It's just
too much? Too showy? Trying to be
way too
something
much.
she's not?
Yeah, she's trying to be a different person. She should just.
Oh.
She's not bad on the left.
Right.
Put the smile on her. Her lips aren't bad. Her nose is not bad. I think it's the way the lighting is hitting her eyes that makes her look like she doesn't do a lot of sleeping, and she needs to brush her hair. But other than that,
Okay, interesting.
yeah. So that's the thing. That's
Those
the
are all
thing.
doable.
It's not the reason why guys take exception to makeup a lot of times is it shows a lot of insecurity. Because if you have makeup that accentuates what you look like, we're like, oh, you really like yourself. You like this part about you, so you accentuate it. But when a woman like decides to look like a different person, we kind of think, huh, does she just want to be a different person? Is she having some identity crisis issues?
Is that so with accentuating, is that sort of what, because I know a lot of girls have complained that guys think going for a natural look, like no makeup or whatever, tends to still have some amount of makeup, just a very minimal amount. Is that the sort of, I suppose what I'm trying to say is that is ideally what accentuation is all about, yeah? What guys are looking for?
Yeah, I think that's fine. Like it.
Okay.
Like I wouldn't wear a suit that makes it look like I have giant muscles. I would just wear a suit
that's tailored,
lets my shoulders pop, right? You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's not a. It's okay to accentuate, like guys do it too, right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Like
when you're trying to
above and
become a
beyond.
different person or modify your body, then it actually gives us some. It gives us some psycho lady vibes. I'll put it that
Especially
way.
on the regular, I imagine as well.
Yeah. It's like you're not comfortable being yourself.
Well, not to mention, I've actually had friends who could not leave the house without having almost crippling anxiety until they put their makeup on.
That is why it freaks us out.
Yeah.
Because like, is this lady going to be a ton of maintenance, emotional maintenance?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is she going to just hound us for compliments and reassurance all the time?
Right.
Lady on the left looks normal. She looks fine. She kind of looks a little bit Russian heritage. I don't know why she's trying to look like she's from Pakistan now. She goes from like Slavic to Middle Eastern. What the heck? I mean, it must be for a cut. Oh, you know what? There's a good distinction. If it's daily makeup versus costume makeup.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Oh, I see.
You can use one or the other depending on the event. But if it's your daily stuff, that should just be your daily makeup. If you start wearing costume makeup as your daily makeup, because your costume is being a different person.
That's true. That's why it's a costume. Yeah. So the one earlier with the red lips, you said for an event, that's fine. Would that be an example of costume, or is that borderline?
That's costume.
Okay.
In fact, I'm going to call that out when I first see it. I'm going to be like, that's costume versus.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely.
Okay. All right. Let's hit it. It's actually not bad as a daily, believe it or not.
Okay.
I think the lipstick's a bit much.
Is it?
Yeah. I would maybe go a little bit less on lacquering that stuff. Like, it's okay to have freckles.
Yeah, freckles are cute. I don't like that a lot of ladies like to cover them up.
Yeah, we're going to find them anyway. Men will find it.
Yeah. So on the lipstick, is it better to be more subtle?
Usually? Yeah, like lip gloss on a daily is probably the best.
Interesting.
Unless you're like a lawyer, unless you're like working in an office and it's part of your sort of uniform, then something more like lip gloss, like a little bit of shine, a little bit of color.
Yeah, well, a lot of women will tell each other, oh, you want it to pop. You want it to be noticeable. You want them to look. But you're saying that's not true. That's women lying to each other with their intention.
That's women lying to each other.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's a different mindsets, right? Like, it's men do not have a need to pop, I guess. We don't have a need to like be noticed. And we find it to be a villainous trait in people if they're like constantly trying to be noticed. So if you have quiet makeup, daily makeup is a nice quiet thing. You're just accentuating some things. You do it because you like it. It's the same reason why a guy might iron his pants. He likes the way it looks.
Oh, okay.
right? That's why he
Mhm,
does it.
mhm.
He makes himself. He shines his shoes. I used to iron my pants and shine my shoes, and
Oh.
on iron my. I used to have a whole ironing regimen that I would
Ooh,
do early on
okay.
that would make it pop, and that wasn't because I was trying to get noticed. It was because I liked it.
Oh,
And the way you know
interesting.
is that I would wear it wherever. Like I'd wear
Right,
it to the
right.
pub, I'd wear it to work, I'd wear it on special days, non-special
Mhm.
days.
And
Um,
how were the reactions you got to that as opposed to other?
I got more respect. I got
Okay.
a lot more respect, right? People respect,
Mhm,
especially from
mhm.
guys. Girls kind of liked it, but guys were like, "Yeah, nice suit, man." Yeah, because nice shoes, especially. I had some really nice shoes, but
Yeah.
the
Hmm.
especially working in sales and stuff, you kind of need to look
Mhm,
good. And there's with ladies in their daily makeup,
mhm.
it's not. It's okay to wear makeup because you like to wear it and it makes you
Right.
feel good. And then there's another thing. It's like I need to be noticed. I want to be noticed. I'm nervous. I'm not getting noticed. Now, there's a biological imperative for women to want to get noticed. That's because that's how you
Mhm.
find a husband. It's like today's the day where husband
Right.
material
Exactly. You
could be
never know.
walking by.
Mhm.
So I need to pop. But
Gotta
guys will,
stand out from the herd.
yeah, most guys can kind of tell you're trying too hard.
Interesting. Okay, okay.
Again, the most attractive thing a woman can wear is a smile. Be nice, be
Yeah,
kind, be
good
sweet.
attitude.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Oh yeah.
Alright. Here. Same lady or different? I mean, obviously,
She's at
it's the
least
same.
not wearing a costume. She's way on the upper. It's not costume makeup. It's
Mhm.
it's a little bit much though. I wonder how
Okay.
much damage this makeup does these ladies' faces is also
I don't have any
thing why.
stats on me right now, but I have heard, from various studies as, I've been interested in
I
things. It
I
does do
accept
a lot of damage.
yeah. No, I
It's not
don't
good.
yeah, don't worry. I'm not a guy who needs a lot of stats. I just
Okay.
based on my experience, a lot of ladies have
Mhm.
bad skin because of the makeup. And
Yeah.
it's a routine to take it off too. And
Well, it's
yeah.
wild too because a lot of the makeup places or even people who promote makeup or makeup gurus or whatever, they'll talk about and stress having a proper skin routine, but it's clearly not serving them too well.
No.
Yeah. So,
Now my wife had to zero in on a skin routine over like 10 years and her skin looks
mhm.
better than ever. Right. Even though,
Oh.
obviously like
Mhm.
we're older than ever, obviously. So, but
What?
it's better
You
than
didn't get
ever, and
younger?
she's just yeah, she just has a good routine that works for her, but she had to try a whole lot of different things.
That makes sense. Yeah, I'm going through
Yeah,
the trial and error phase, so but I don't wear makeup that often, but even still.
no worries.
Alright.
All right, the next one.
Okay.
This one is probably the least egregious one I've seen so far. Like,
Yeah?
obviously, her hair is up in the left picture.
Well, yes. Hair can do that.
If she put her hair down, she would
Mhm.
almost look exactly like the one on the right,
Okay,
except
what
this
about the eyeshadow mascara?
one on the left looks like someone I'd want to talk to. The one on the right looks like a freaking alien. This is another
Okay.
thing, okay?
Huh.
When the two sexes are separated, right? When
Mhm.
they're like in their own bubble, all the
Mhm.
women are over here and all the men are over here,
Yes.
and we decide on beauty standards. The men all come out with like Mr. Universe Muscle Man thing. Okay.
Mhm. Yes.
Most women don't like that.
No.
And women come up with Bratz dolls.
Yeah.
And they both are ugly as F
Mhm.
to the other sex. And I don't understand like why ladies are doing. That's why a lot of guys are
Mhm.
say to themselves like, "Would you do this if no one saw you? Is this for you or is this for anybody else?" Because if it's for me, I don't care about it. Like I don't like it.
Right.
I would probably see what she does. Okay, she smooths out her eyebrows. She's
Mhm.
not lying to me at least. I don't know. She is kind
Yeah.
of lacquering it on like
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
heavy. I think maybe
Okay.
I'd put a little concealer on that thing on her upper lip, and that's
Bronzing
about it.
herself too.
Yeah,
I
yeah, it's
noticed a lot of
unnecessary.
ladies, except for, usually more Asian, prefer to get they don't wanna be pale. Um, Obviously, as I stated, usually from my understanding with Asians, it is, the opposite where they do try to look paler. But and I know from experience growing up, I have rather pale, fair skin, and I had a lot of peers who also did, and they would fake tanning was really big, or even just
Yeah,
over
yeah,
tanning in the beds was a big thing when I was a teen, and it was ridiculous how offensive just having natural pale skin was to everyone.
yeah.
But
It's the
mhm,
I think it's like grass is greener on the other side, right?
I
Like without
guess.
any other extra inputs, people just want to do something different.
I
So
guess, but
everyone has curly hair wants to have straight hair, and everyone has straight hair wants to have curly hair. That's that
that's
phenomenon.
yep. I only
Mexicans
bake it
want to be
on.
more pale, like they'll wear lots of stuff when they're out in the sun because they don't want to get a tan.
Wow.
Yeah.
I only
Um,
began appreciating my curls within the last several years. So I wanted straight hair all my life till then.
yep. You pretty much just think people tend to default to thinking there's something wrong with them,
Hmm. That can't be healthy.
especially if they have trait neuroticism a little bit of that going on. So they just
Mm,
always oscillate. Whatever they have right now is not good enough. They want to do something different, which is
okay.
since men are a little bit less neurotic than women.
Yeah, I was
Um,
gonna say that
we
it
don't
must
change our
naturally
fashion.
be amped up in women.
Some of us are pale. I mean, you'll see pale dudes,
Mhm.
like Peaky Blinders looking dudes. You'll see tan dudes. You'll
Yeah.
see black dudes. You'll see white dudes. You'll see.
Mhm.
Um, there goes the next one.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, yeah, she's got a skin condition, lady. You gotta have that looked at. This is straight up lying. So the way I judge these is
Mhm.
if I saw the picture on a dating profile, the one on the
Mhm.
right, and I showed
Mhm.
up and it's the one on the left, would I
Yeah.
leave? Would I leave? I would leave. I'm out of
Oh.
here. I'd be like, what the is that? What?
Just
No, like,
because it's a lie or
yeah. I'd be like, I'm done. I'm out.
even though I
And
mean, I
what
think
else the
she's
rest
still
of the
cute
date gonna
enough.
be? What's the rest of the date gonna be? Like, what else? Like, I'm already
Her
starting off.
personality.
Her personality is someone who lies to me.
Maybe she just wanted to get a good catch. You know, once you get them and then you
Yeah,
reel
by
them in,
lying to
you're
me.
good.
I mean, it's like if you,
It's tactics.
yeah, it is tactics, but it's not very good tactics. You're better off doing
Hmm.
something else to mislead me. Something that's going to be a little less easy to notice.
I'm curious what those tactics would be now.
Not this.
Okay, well, good
I
to
would
know for
storm out.
now.
I'd be like, what the? I had a girl do this
Wow.
to me once too. She had the
Really?
MySpace angles. Yeah, in high
Oh,
school, she had the
yeah.
MySpace angles going.
Mhm.
I was wondering why she kept taking pictures like from weird angles or whatever, or
Mhm.
from like there was one where she was like cuddling her kitten and it was covering like half her face. I was like,
Mhm.
and I was thinking to myself, man, does she have like a Phantom of the Opera face going or something? Well, I get there and she's like fatter than she looked in the
Oh.
pictures.
Yeah, yeah.
And what it does is it's just like, oh, this lady's not very confident. That's what it tells
Mhm.
me. And it's also that she's okay with misleading me. She's okay with
S
wasting my time potentially.
Right. So if
Uh,
she had just
it
owned it, would you still been interested?
depends on what she had going on. Guys, by the way, will take more chances. Again, guys are more
Mhm.
prone to take chances.
Mhm.
So they might just go like, yeah, screw it. I got a free time right now. I'll just go on a date, whatever.
So even
See what
if a
happens.
lady isn't as appealing, as long as she doesn't, like, blatantly lie or try to get around it or
Yeah.
something? Oh, okay.
Because if there's a lie at the start, like ladies are more
Mhm.
okay with lying than men are.
Yeah,
Okay. We'll
it
establish
just
that
is.
right there. Yep. Yep. Men find it to be villainous. Again, common
Hmm.
traits of women are villainous traits for men.
This is
The level of,
really
yeah,
insightful.
it pisses us off. It pisses us off.
Mhm,
This was
mhm.
not so bad because she's pretty in both pictures. Although the
She
one on the
is.
right, I would be okay. Yeah, I would not storm out on a date like this. Like,
Mhm.
I would probably just feel like you look really different than your photo. I mean, you're super pretty now, but
So is it different because she's still very pretty without it?
yeah, correct. You get some forgiveness because it's like,
Oh, okay.
okay, maybe you want to look a little bit different, but you're not
Mhm.
covering up like a horror show, right? It does not look like the
Oh,
craters of
okay.
Mars here. So,
I mean, ladies are the same way with guys, like, if a guy is more attractive, yes.
well, and the funny thing is, women are way more tolerant of lies, and then they wonder why they keep dating guys who lie to
Yeah,
them. It's like you keep
yeah,
tolerating bad
that's
behavior.
also true.
Yeah, so I would feel sort of bad for this girl if I showed up
Yeah.
on a date. Although the picture on the right does look like a fake. Most of it's AI generated.
I was gonna say that as well, yeah, you beat me to it.
The one on the left just looks like she has a skin condition or just like unfortunate
Yeah.
freckling.
I feel like she could, like,
Poor
still be
girl.
really pretty and cute if she just put a little bit into it, but I don't think it's actually all that bad. On the left, I mean. Hmm.
Yeah, I would storm out. I'd probably storm out at this one. So I'd probably still storm out. I wouldn't date her in the first place because she looks like a alien rendering of what a human would look like to an alien on the right. Though, but if this level of deception, I'd walk out.
Okay,
Let's
okay.
pass. For a second there, I was like, "What's the difference?" By
Yeah,
the
I
way, us men
know.
don't
It's
notice
subtle.
a lot. Yeah, we go to you
Well
take us to the paint swatch area of Lowe's, and we're like, "All these grays look the same. What the hell are
well,
we
but that's an
still standing here?"
actual,
Yeah.
scientific thing. It's because men didn't have to pick colors out as much and other small detail related things because they just didn't have to.
Yeah.
But whereas similarly with women, we just tend to not be as good as, like, for example, depth perception. We weren't throwing spears at things. We were going through the berries and having to note subtle differences.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
probably also the ladies' ability to look at color is better as a health indicator too. A lot of ladies will say like, "Oh, you look kind of pale or you look a little bit
Yeah.
off
Mhm.
today." And I'm
The
like, "I don't know. I would've
caretaker.
noticed." Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I
So
wouldn't walk out in this one. This one's fine.
no? What do you
Yeah,
think of,
she's
like, what she did with her lips? It looks like she might have tried to amplify them slightly at least, or even
yeah,
how
she
she
lacquered she put that
yeah.
on there, but it's not a lie. It is an accentuation. Like it's not
Okay, okay.
the color hasn't really changed that much, and even the
Right.
plumpness hasn't changed. Like I've seen some ladies who have like little skinny lips, and it's like
Yeah.
huge, pumped up for the date. I'd be like,
Mhm.
it's like okay,
The
I don't mind skinny
eyelashes?
lips. I don't fine.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's fine.
Done up like
Just
that?
look she just looking nice. That's all right.
Okay,
Yeah, it's not
okay.
the shape is still there. I've seen ladies who have like no eyelashes and then oh wait,
Mhm.
no, I'm sorry. Eyebrow. I was thinking eyebrows.
Oh, yeah, no, the lashes.
I didn't even notice the eyelashes.
In the right one?
Yeah, barely noticed it. It's not a big deal.
Really?
Yeah, because so I know again, like some ladies will just have these giant fins looking like
Right,
drag
well,
queens.
ladies judge each other about that sort of thing, so that's why I was curious if you noted it or what you
Yeah,
thought of
women's
it.
opinions on how women should look is should be disregarded most of the time.
I mean, that's a general rule of thumb, but, for a reason. Okay.
This is a tasteful amount of makeup. Look at that.
Okay, that's what I was
I
thinking.
mean, I want to give the one on the left some chapstick,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
oh, it's like why take care of your skin when you can just lacquer over it with makeup.
Well, it's easier.
Co-
Well, some
Collagen is
people
your
would say that.
friend.
Yeah.
I take collagen
Okay.
supplements every day because that's good for your
Really?
joints. Apparently, yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's not
Alright.
bad either. It's not bad either.
Yeah. Did she add freckles to herself? I mean, it's
that'd be a
cute. It's
that'd be
just
a first one. Yeah, that kind of is cute actually. It'd be all right.
it
Yeah, I think
is.
she'd
I'd
work
be
with what she's got.
disappointed when she'd wipe the freckles off. Like, "I thought you had freckles."
That's too funny.
It's cute.
Freckle accentuator. Where's the freckle gun? I don't know. Maybe this is just
Freckle
taken at
gun.
different times. Like she was in the sun a bit more. You know, like doesn't the sun bring out your freckles?
I think sometimes.
Okay. All right. Let's do the next one.
Interesting, interesting. Okay. So, sort of
Yeah.
Instagram makeup look?
Yeah, I see that she's doing the angle too. She's like tilting her
Mhm,
head
mhm.
back a little bit because she know her face is like a rectangle a little bit, or maybe like an oval. It's more oval.
It's a little broader than what is generally, sought out, I would say.
Yeah, she's not bad looking.
No.
If I saw her on a date, I like her. Her eyes are very pretty.
Yeah.
Um, okay, lips. The lip
Mhm.
makeup is okay. The
Yep.
eye makeup is a little bit much, but it's okay. Maybe
Mhm.
shrink those eyelashes to about half size.
And the brows?
Um, brows are fine. The brows are just like she's colored in, or it is. Like,
Okay.
imagine if a guy did this with his receding hairline. He just paints that thing on.
Oh,
Now,
gee.
I'm not a guy who says like, "Oh, it's not fair," because fairness
Mhm.
is a concept for
Right.
women and children. So, but it is comparable, and I like to like maybe
Yeah.
say, yeah. Okay, so she didn't lie with her hairline, at least actually bringing that up. 'Cause her
Mhm.
hairline is back a little bit more,
Yeah.
and a lot of ladies would be comfortable with. So she didn't lie.
Mhm.
There's no, the
Okay.
only lie I'm really seeing is that she's changed the shape of her face, and I think that's just mostly from the angle. She's taking a
Yeah.
flattering angle.
So, what's your opinion with how she kinda took, like, the pinkness out of, like, her nose and cheeks area?
That's not bad.
Yeah? Okay.
I mean,
I guess what
it's returning it to the skin tone that
Mhm.
I mean, there must be some kind of measurement of skin shading that you can go away from and still be considered not a lie. She's within
Interest
that. I don't know where that line
Okay,
is, but
okay.
she's within it for me. Um,
Interesting. And in general with these, one of my curiosities with the eyebrows in particular is just that for a little bit now, it seemed to have been a trend that ladies would go, like, thick and big and bold, and I don't really understand it, but I was wondering, yeah.
again with the freaking eyelashes, man. This one's not bad.
Yeah. Yeah, except
I
for the
mean,
eyelashes, but
yeah, that one's not bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, here.
She's trying.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Yeah.
lips.
Is it because they're red?
Yeah, they really pop a lot. That's
Well, that's probably what another woman told her to do. Make them
yeah.
pop.
She's like transporting her. The rest of her body is just there to transport her lips around from place to place to be seen. That's just it's like what's the? I mean, she's got kind of like beady little eyes in the left picture, but that's not bad. I don't know. They're
Yeah,
kind
I
of
mean,
big.
she's
They're
cute
kind of
enough,
big.
but I
Yeah,
think
she's cute enough.
the issue is more like the width, but even then, having them set apart that way is it's still
This is
cute.
why.
Like,
This is
she
why
could
ladies
still
have
work
such a
with it.
bad first date, though, right?
Yeah?
Like if I see the picture on the right on the
Mhm.
profile,
Mhm.
and then I show up there and the picture's on the left, the first
Mhm.
thing I'm gonna have to do, the first thing as a man I have to do is now um awkwardly
Mhm.
conceal my disappointment. Be putting us men into a real position here because it's like
Hmm.
I have to now conceal my disappointment. Like, and she's like, "Hi, nice to meet you." And I'm like, "Hey, how's it going? Yeah, hey, it's great to see you." We do that like, yeah. The voice gets all high, and I was like,
Right.
I'm trying to decide because we're trying to decide whether we want to, like, at the worst case, decide whether we're going to leave or not.
Mhm.
In second case, if it's not so bad, decide if we're going to bring it up or not. The third case is like, if we've already committed to a date, we've committed to a
Mhm.
date. When we get there and it's not what we expected, it's kind of like if I ordered a pizza and there's
Mhm.
a picture of the pizza on the website and I show up and the pizza doesn't look like that.
Right. Right.
I'm wondering if I really even should be here.
Okay.
Like, because now
Well,
I'm thinking about it. I'm forced to, even if it's totally fine, I'm now
mhm.
forced to think about it, to reconsider.
Well, I think for a lot of women, the concern is if they don't do something like this, there just won't be men who are actually interested, or at least not the ones they'd want to be interested.
Yeah, it's the reality. Um,
Yeah, it
it's
is,
not
but
hard to get men interested in you. Us
it's
men are
just the ones you want.
exactly. Well, and the thing is, like, the ones you want aren't really online anyway. Like, I don't
True,
know
but
why
the
women would date a guy who's on Tinder in the first place.
well, even not necessarily on apps, but at this point,
Or on
apps are pointless. But even just like different websites or something, you know, like something like say
all
Twitter,
these.
Facebook, whatever.
Well, I'd assume this is under the context of being like a dating website, right? I guess that's
Sure.
the way I'm approaching it. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like you're trying to attract somebody. Now, if it's just
Okay.
like, oh, is this a lie? As in, is this too much
Like
or
in
not?
general,
That's
but
kind of
yeah.
untethered from it. From it's just a judgment call of like, what's your opinion on it? But
Hmm. Okay.
right. So if I say like, is that too much makeup? I don't know.
Mhm.
Whatever makes her happy. That's not very good input for me to
Well,
give. But if it's like, I would walk out on this date. That's like a good
okay.
yes or
That's a
no,
fair
green
enough
light, red
standard. I
light.
suppose I was more thinking like w if she'd attract, like, male attention or not as she's going through her day with these sorts of makeup, but
Oh, okay.
that works
I
as
mean,
well.
all of these, I would say all of these girls probably not that much.
Okay.
Like guys can kind of tell when a girl is putting on makeup.
And it's a
Or
turn-off?
we just don't know what we're getting, right? It's like
Oh,
it's like if you had a delicious cheeseburger, but it's inside of the wrapper. It's like,
snake oil
yes, I have this
sales.
beautiful wrapper. It's nice and foil, and look at this burger. It's like, okay, we don't need the mystery burger.
Mhm.
That's why the natural look, I guess, could be actually really attractive for a lot of guys because they know what they're getting.
Interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Still blows my mind that women are just okay misleading men en masse and like, why aren't you giving us attention? And it's like, because you're like, like women are surprised that we're upset.
I think it has something to do with nature and tendencies. It's just it gets so amplified these days, I'm going to think or hypothesize,
Yeah.
that it's really made trouble.
Yeah. Women also think they're competing with each other all the time,
I mean, we
and they're
sort
not.
of are. Oh.
No, they're not. If
Mm,
you are,
mhm.
men are kind of looking for more uniqueness. Like we all have kind of a type that we like,
But
and you
don't
either are
stand
that
out
type or you're
too
not.
much. Oh,
Say what?
hmm. So, well, the uniqueness, but also, like, with makeup, don't be too unique that, like, you don't know what he's getting. Like, I don't know. It's getting complicated in my mind.
If we can tell that you got makeup on, then we're always, I
Mhm.
mean, the more makeup you put on, the more uncertainty we have of what we're getting. the more uncertainty we have of whether we want it. Now that
But
should
risk
make
and reward, yeah.
that should make sense. Like we don't know what we're getting. Like
Mhm.
we're more uncertain about what we're getting, so therefore we're more uncertain about whether we want what's in the box, right?
Sure, but if a lady's using makeup as a means to be more unique in that sort of sense,
Women are already unique. They don't need to be more unique. I
well,
mean, I don't know
that's
how to be
very
more unique.
wholesome of you.
Oh yeah, well, women are pretty. Yeah, men like women. Turns out, actually,
Yeah, I mean,
you don't
yeah.
need a lot of help.
Hmm.
Like the girl on the left here looks great. The girl on the right, I'm like, what the?
Mhm.
Like, the girl on the left looks like a girl. If she was working as a cashier, I'd probably talk
Mhm.
her up and be friendly
Oh,
with her. The girl on the
interesting.
right, I'm like, what the heck? Like,
Mhm.
I'm like, I don't know what to think. That's the thing is like these ladies come in
Huh.
here looking unnatural, and
Yeah.
men like the woman on the right looks like an alien. Okay, so how do you think our instinct is going to treat an alien? It's why women feel like they need to jump into the uncanny valley to get attention
Mhm.
is beyond me because it makes us really uncomfortable.
I mean, it is pretty and interesting.
To you, it is. To us, it's like really weird.
Hmm. I guess
I
maybe
think
it
that
does
look.
go
I
back
think
to
that
the
looks.
Bratz dolls.
Yes, dude, that looks like a Bratz doll. I don't. The nose looks like it's been painted on. Yeah, and the
Sort
the
of.
lips. The lips are not the right color for the face. I don't know where those lips
Yeah.
color. That lip color. I've seen a corpse before, and
Yep.
the lips look pretty close to that, like a band-aid shade.
Fascinating.
Yeah, that's a corpse to me.
Band-Aid lips.
That looks like a
Hmm.
corpse. That looks like something that's gonna crawl on my TV if I was watching a Korean VHS tape. You know what
Jeez.
I mean? That's a monster. Like why
But she's pretty on both
on the
sides.
left she is.
On both sides, just different kinds of pretty.
Nah. I mean, pretty like a painting on the right, I suppose, maybe if you're trying to make a scene or something like that. But pretty as in I would like to talk to her or be involved. Yeah, nah. Pass.
Okay. Here.
Quite the it's quite the forehead. I'm gonna try to get past that.
I don't think she can make that up that much. The forehead. There's
Some
only
guys
so
might
much
be
she can
into
do.
some guys might be into it, I guess. I don't know.
We're
I'm
here
just
to
gonna
judge
ignore
the
it.
makeup.
Where'd her eyebrows go? Why do women do this to their eyebrows? That can't be natural. She must have plucked them or something.
Maybe. I don't know why
A lot of
ladies
ladies
do
will
that.
shave them off or pluck them and then just paint them back on.
Yeah, I don't understand that trend. But
Objectively speaking, I actually prefer the one on the left. I mean, she needs to do something with her hair,
yeah,
but other than that,
different hairstyle. Yeah.
again, the one on the right looks like a mannequin. It doesn't look real.
Interesting.
It doesn't look real, man. It's making me
What about like
uncomfortable.
the color of the eyeshadow and stuff? Because it's pinkish and no comments. Did you
It
notice?
doesn't look real.
Oh.
It doesn't. Yeah, nothing about this. This look. I mean, imagine if I told you the one on the right was a mannequin. Would you believe me?
Yeah, probably. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
I
probably bad.
could.
It's a bad sign.
I wouldn't doubt
I wouldn't.
necessarily.
I don't want to date a mannequin.
Hmm.
This is
I'm
a
not
chick,
sure.
right?
I'm not sure,
All right,
but cute enough.
you say so.
Um,
Yeah, this is looking like a freaking K-pop star. Like man or woman,
they're
doesn't matter.
popular right now.
Yeah, they're popular among women and gay dudes. I don't know. I don't know who like K-pop. It's Gen Zs, which I
Yeah,
repeat
actually,
myself, I suppose.
I'm not part of the K-pop trend. I'm just aware of it. So, um, hmm. But
Yes, that's a
otherwise,
little much. That's a
a
little
little
too much.
much.
Yeah, it's a little much. Mannequin look. Mannequin.
There's not that much done other than like the eyelashes. Like, there's
It's
other
totally
stuff. It's just not too
yeah.
out
The
there.
skin is just perfectly smooth. And the eyelashes and the eyebrows. Mannequin
Interesting. So
doesn't
if it
look
looks
real.
too perfect, that's not good.
Uncanny Valley. It's like you got a face made of
Oh,
like a latex mold. Oh, she looks lovely. Both look good. I
yeah.
mean, the one on the left isn't quite as nice, right? She just sort of
Well, the
looks normal.
smile. Hmm.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
she put a smile on there, she'd be fine.
Interesting.
Yeah, she
Okay.
looks lovely. That's nice. What? Oh, hell no. Jesus, she looks like the lady from American Gothic.
I haven't seen, so I don't
And then
know.
she tries to look like early career Judge Judy in the right. I don't that yeah, this
Hmm.
is age defying. She'd become another
Yeah.
person. This is I'd be furious.
Oh,
I'd be
okay.
furious.
Here.
Yeah, she's got a bit of a skin condition or something going on here.
Yeah, probably from wearing
If
a
she
bunch of makeup.
smiled, That's the thing. Is I
She's
gotta like
cute.
make them smile in the picture.
Yeah, I don't like how they try to purposely make the before pictures look worse. But like,
Yeah.
it's like the before and after weight loss pictures when usually they look miserable in the before. It's like, no, you gotta give us the same energy. But it is what it
True.
is.
There's a good video too of some guy who did the before and after picture within 5 minutes. Like
Mhm.
shows you how you get those. Because what they do is they go in looking really fit, and
Mhm.
then they drink like half a gallon of milk and then some soda to bloat
Oh, get you
themselves up.
bloated, yeah.
Yeah, then they look like way
Mhm.
fatter. All
Mhm,
the
mhm.
tone goes away.
That would do it.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fakery. I
But I think
don't
she's
trust.
cute, yeah.
Oh no, I meant for the weight,
I know, I was
the
just
before
trying
and
to
after
bring it
picture of the weight
back.
loss. Oh yeah, sorry. Um,
Mhm.
she's like made her eyes a different shape too.
Yeah, I did notice that a little bit.
Trying to think of what I would not. Okay, all right. This girl is you know when you like fly just close enough to the sun where
Mhm,
you're
mhm.
really soaring, but you didn't fly so close that it's
That Icarus or whatever.
yeah. I would say that what for the face that God gave her, she's doing a pretty good stuff with
Okay.
it on this one. I think she needs to put a little bit of foundation on the left picture and maybe look a little happier
Little foundation.
or something like something to.
Or something.
She might have been
Even it
having a
out.
bad skin day.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
this
could have
is
been.
lovely.
Yeah.
See the one on the right looks out of my. So this is another thing the women don't think about.
Mhm.
The one on the right is going to scare some guys because she kind of looks out of the league, out of your
Oh.
league, right? Guys are like, I don't even know if I want to try this one. Because by the way, rejection does hurt us, but it is.
Right, right.
That's why only brave guys get the dates. Um, the one
Hmm.
on the left looks super friendly though.
Yeah.
I
And
think,
again, she kinda took the pinkness out of her skin, though, I think. Kinda bronzed it up.
yeah, she didn't need to do that.
Yeah.
I would say
Mhm.
if I was out and I was a young man
Mhm.
thinking as young men do, I'd say the one on the left I'd probably have better chances with.
Really? Even though it's the same lady? Like, just the makeup and, like, the way it added to it?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
Huh.
Kinda got that girl next door look. There's a reason why guys like that girl next door look.
I guess
It
so.
just seems more friendly. Like this one
Mhm.
seems more formal, right? Like a lady who's
Yeah.
wearing very little makeup. I'm gonna
Mhm.
assume that she's wearing very little makeup in the left picture. It's kind of like seeing a guy dressed casually versus on the right picture, it's all that makeup is making her look a bit more formal,
Oh.
right? You wouldn't want to necessarily talk up a guy in the library who's wearing a three-piece suit. You're like, oh, he's giving off a certain image, right?
I mean, I feel like that's more thought, though, like a guy who dresses up nice and looks good that way. It's just disappointing then
Over
when you see him casual.
Well, right. Well, overdressing can be a bad thing, right? That's what I'm saying is like overdressing or over makeuping. If you
Mhm.
over makeup, you're going to look unfriendly or you're not going to look like approachable.
Oh, okay.
This is a good example of that, I think, because the girl on the left
Mhm.
looks approachable. Also, her little like smile lines are kind of more apparent on the left picture.
Yeah.
That's kind of cute. The
Mhm.
yeah, there's the appropriate. It's not about too much or not enough. It's sometimes about appropriate and what you're trying to get through.
Oh, that
Um,
complicates it a bit.
I would say the one on the left could just use a bit of skin gloss, or sorry, lip gloss. Skin gloss. That doesn't exist yet.
Skin gloss.
Just lacquer it on your face.
Ooh.
Glossy skin. I've been eating a lot of omega 3s and 6 fatty acids. That's too much. It's
Oh,
too
the
much.
fish oil capsules. Ooh.
Just rub it on my face.
The
Nice
smell.
girl. She smells like a fish though, and she's kind of slimy.
She's a mermaid, it's fine.
She's like a frog. Speaking of frogs, she's
She's alright.
yeah, she's okay. It's one of the weird instances where her makeup has actually made her look a little older,
Yeah.
which I guess girls would do when they're younger because
Mhm.
everybody wants to not be themselves.
I
Like when
still
they're
get assumed to be a teenager, so and I mean, I'm, like, past 10 years beyond that, and I so, yes, with makeup, sometimes I do wanna look older. Um
what have we got here? This one I would not walk out. All right, first off, like
Mhm.
because I'm trying to think objectively,
Mhm.
goes and no goes, right? We got a go and
Right.
no go. This one would be a go. I would not
Mhm.
reject this woman if I saw her dating profile look like the picture on the right
Mhm.
and I showed up in the picture on the left. I mean, I'd say that's fair game. Like, okay.
Okay.
By the way, us guys have got the standard that women are going to lie a little bit.
Oh.
It's just there's going to
You
be
just
like a
have to.
minute. There's going to be like a minute to 5 minutes of uncertainty where we're trying to like recalculate, right? Like when you're in a GPS and you find
Mhm.
yourself off the route you thought you'd be, it's got to
Right.
recalculate. So we're going
Yeah.
to recalculate. So
Okay.
yeah, recalculate.
Oh,
Yeah, the one left, she's not bad.
yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I don't think this one's not bad.
Okay. I mean, I don't
I
think
would say
there's
she's
too much to it, but yeah.
no, she's done a good job of smoothing it out. She doesn't look like a
Okay.
mannequin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one?
Well, that's cute. That's cute. I'd be okay with
Yeah?
that. Yeah, you got some blemishes on your skin. I can't no account for that. I like how the hair is the same in both pictures. Makes it a little
Yes.
easier.
But it's not too much on the right side? Not too mannequin? Too red for the lips?
It's a bit red, but I'm assuming she's
Mhm.
kind of going for that.
Mhm.
Um, if her picture, that's why I'm saying, if her picture on the looked like the one on the right in the dating profile, and I showed up and it was
Mhm.
the one on the left, I wouldn't walk out. First off,
Interesting. Would it still
it
be
is
a
a little
sort
bit.
of betrayal?
It does look like a little bit much. I'm sorry, what? It'd be a
I
sort
was
of
just
betrayal.
asking if it was, yeah, a sort of a betrayal still, like, not exactly what you were sold on.
She's getting a lot of mileage out of her eyes and her lips right now, and that she looks
Mhm.
like she's happy. That she look. It kind of looks like she's giving a little Mona Lisa smile there.
Yeah, yeah.
It does
Okay.
that helps a lot. That helps a lot. Uh, yeah, you can having a good attitude. By the way, will show
Mhm.
through your body language, your facial language,
Yeah.
and that might carry you to victory. So always a good
Okay.
attitude. Yeah.
Alright, let's
Okay.
go. Here?
Holy smokes. Okay. Yeah, this one's a bit much. Woof.
Like, she completely changes her nose, huh? Or maybe that's just the angle, I'm
Yeah,
not
she
sure.
no, she totally does. It's got like a
It's
kind of a
smaller
fatter
and
nose in the left picture.
yeah,
This
it's
Has this
cute
one been
though.
touched up?
Maybe, but sometimes I'm not sure because 'cause I've seen crazy things done with makeup, so
Yeah. Yeah, this one's a bit much.
okay. She's very cute, normally. This one? Nice.
Okay, so we're getting into some dangerous territory here when they start
Oh,
de-aging themselves. Because
okay.
you can have a small amount of makeup and then de-age yourself.
Mhm.
Like the one on the left, I would say it's got to be. I mean, how old would you say she is? I know you don't like to guess age, but
I'm just
give a
not good
guess.
at guessing age.
I've got a number in mind already, so you won't
Oh,
sway me.
30 something?
30 something. I would say
Or
40. I'd say
really?
40
40?
something.
Like young 40?
Young 40, maybe. Maybe
Okay,
older
okay.
40, but
Oh,
I could. It could be somewhere in the 40s.
okay.
Ladies age non-linearly. Also, if you ever look at an Asian lady, they tend to age all at once. The very end, turn to little
Oh.
tiny ladies. As soon as menopause hits, just bam, went from
Huh.
elegant slender swan down to like
Mhm.
pod lady,
I've
pod
never paid
body.
attention to that sort of thing.
Yeah, there's a comic on it. I'll have to send it to you.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Whereas the woman on the right looks like she's in her late 20s. So she's at
Really?
least gaining. Yeah, the one on the
Wow.
right looks like she's in her late 20s. Um, maybe mid
Huh.
20s, pushing it. But that gains
See,
her like 10 years.
I feel
Or
like they look about the same age for each of these.
nah, not me.
That could just be me,
That's not
though.
what I think. She looks like she's
Hmm.
de-aged herself. Like look around the jowls. That's a
Yeah,
big one. She's de-jowled herself.
a little bit, but
A, a little bit goes a long way when it comes to the jowls.
oh, okay.
And the eyes. Totally smooth that out. So jowls,
Oh.
eyes.
Mhm.
Her skin looks a little bit. So when you smooth out your skin, it also looks a little bit tighter, right?
Yeah, yeah, which is more
Any
youthful.
sagginess. Yeah. So she's
Mhm.
done. I mean, whoever did her makeup is very good. This is.
Okay.
If I showed up on a date to this though, I'd be like, how old is this lady really? Right?
Let me see your ID, ma'am.
Oh man, Asian faces.
Pretty.
The one on the bottom is pretty. The one on the top is
You don't think she's that pretty before?
she's tolerable.
I mean, she's
Wouldn't
pretty enough. The one on the bottom reminds me of, ball jointed dolls, which I've dabbled in that hobby over some years in my
oh
20s,
yeah.
but very pretty.
I mean, if I saw the one on the bottom, I would assume that is a
Mhm.
glamour shot, right? I don't. Well, okay, yeah, I would feel a bit lied to. Like, look at the eyebrows, totally different.
Yeah, she did
She's
have to add some brow in,
yeah, she has some
and
brow
the
in.
lids a little bit.
She does have a weird lack of eyelashes, actually. So she goes from like
Oh,
no
yeah.
eyelashes to having
Mhm.
a normal
Well,
amount of eyelashes.
at least it's not a bunch of eyelashes, though.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's more questionable with what she did with her, eyelid, where she kinda gives herself more lid.
Gives herself more lid.
See, it's darker on the bottom one. There's I feel like there's more to it almost.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially that left eye right there. Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's actually kind of made it so she has more recesses
Mhm.
to look more
Yeah.
Western, probably.
Yeah.
Asian people like to look Western. They,
I'm aware, but
I'd say like Swedish or
mhm.
Dutch people are like the beauty standard of the planet.
I've
Like
heard for
everybody wants to
Swedish
be.
and German, but I could see how Dutch would. It's same
It
general
can go. Yeah, German
geographic
can go
area.
either way, but
Yeah, that's true.
that's a walkout. That's
Yeah?
a walkout. That's a walkout.
Too many things. Like, do you even wanna go through it or just leave it? Because I think I see why.
The whole mouth area is a real mess. I think
Yeah.
it's because she's not smiling again. Like she's
Yeah?
yeah.
If she did smile in the before, you think it would be fine? Or
It would be easier to compare, but I would definitely feel lied
mhm.
to here. The
Okay.
one on the left, the
Huh.
picture on the left looks like she's never smiled in her life. She's like, I'm
It
about to
does
get
look that
scolded.
way. Very
Yeah, I mean,
serious, strict, stern.
she's all she needs is a slight unibrow, and she would complete what in my mind is what I would think of when I think of German women. But that's
Re Wow.
uh,
This one. Hmm?
I mean, it's not a great picture to put on your dating profile. The picture on the right,
Yeah?
again, mannequin. It's looking mannequin.
Huh.
Really looks mannequin. And the picture on the left is not bad. Put the picture on the
Really?
left, put some lighting on it, some good
Mhm.
lighting on it. Put her in like a beach scene or something, and then
Mhm.
give her a smile, and she's like 100% chance I go on date. The one on the
Interesting.
right, I don't know what's going on, so I'm reluctant to find
Mhm.
out. Um,
Huh.
dates are work, man. So
Yeah, I
okay.
mean, they should be at least.
Starbucks makes all of its money selling mediocre coffee.
Yes.
It's over roasted, so it all
Mhm.
tastes the same. You know
Mhm.
what you're getting,
It
and it's
costs
the
too
most
much.
popular coffee on the planet
Yeah.
because you know what you're getting. Uh, Men prefer reliability over flash and pop.
Interesting. Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let's go. This one.
Oh, wait, neither of those pictures look good to me, but let's see. I don't want to be mean. I'm just she's going for she's got a look going. She's got a look
Mhm.
going.
Mhm.
And I'm not into it. But the thing is the pictures look very similar to me.
Yeah,
What it,
subjectively.
there's like no difference to me. I would not feel
Okay.
like I've been lied to, that's for sure.
Mhm. Do you think that she works the black lipstick well enough? Because I know a lot of guys don't like certain colors like that or like black necessarily or too dark necessarily. I th
For
I don't know.
black people, they can get away with a lot. You
Oh.
ever all right, so black people are amazing in that they can look good at just about anything. Turns out black goes with everything. And
Huh.
if you look up pictures of steampunk, just regular
I
steampunk
love
people, and then look up
steampunk.
black steampunk, and you will see that black people can pull it off really well.
Really?
Even the
See
nerdiest like black dude looks great. Like freaking Steve
huh.
Urkel looking dude looking steampunk. That's pretty cool. Some
I tend
random
to
white dude,
feel
not
yeah.
so cool. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
tend to feel that way about, like, Asian people, like, they look good in most things. I feel like but that always Asian and Latino have kind of always been a sweet
Mm,
spot for me, so
okay. Huh. Something to think about. I haven't really thought about that.
okay,
I think Asian people all look kind of goofy all the time because I'm Asian.
you're
I'm
biased.
half Asian. Wow, it's like the color saturation will just turn way down on the one on the left. I mean,
Yeah.
is that no makeup? Because she's got great skin. She needs,
There's some.
as a matter of fact, I'd say she might need more makeup to look less like a mannequin. I mean,
Really?
yeah, she got the same skin tone throughout, which is amazing. Except for her cheeks there a little bit.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
amazing that she's got that consistency, but it does
Huh.
It does look a little strange, and you could tell that that's what she did actually with the makeup.
Yeah.
She's got her forehead going there, and
Yeah, you can see.
yeah, the one on the left has got like a CPR dummy vibe to me. It's like it looks like
With
it's like
nice
is that a
hair.
mannequin? Yeah, is that a prop? Especially her teeth are amazing.
Yeah,
It-
that's good genes, I guess.
I'm gonna guess that she plays the flute and band. That's what I'm gonna say.
Why do
She
you
looks
guess
got
that?
flute. just the body type. You always get these sort of like happy go lucky skinny looking girls playing flute and band. I don't know, that or violin.
That's wild. Okay, huh. And violin too, you just said?
Yeah, violin
Oh
too.
my gosh,
I
I
don't
played
know.
flute and I chose flute because my mom wouldn't let me play violin, so this is interesting. I was not
I played the
happy-go-lucky, but
I played the jazz guitar in a
Oh.
high school band. I was drafted. The guitarist in there was terrible. Turns out I was only slightly less terrible than he was. So
Well, you
we
know, still
both
better.
actually just kept the job. It was like between the two of us, we could carry it. We were not good. All right,
Oh,
what else we got?
this one.
Totally fine.
Yeah? I mean, it is
She's
mostly the
got a bit
same.
of a she's got a bit of a Squidward nose, but that might be the
Well,
angle.
you can't help that.
I'm
You'd
just
rather
being
know
mean.
that.
Totally fine. Totally fine. She still looks like.
Okay.
Wait, what is the?
Now
Is it just because she put
some
makeup? Yeah, is it just
she
because she
had
put
some in the start. I think this one I was looking more specifically at the lips.
lips? That's
Because I
fine.
did try to search for certain kinds of makeup
Okay.
specifically, so
Yeah, totally,
at
totally
certain
fine on that
points.
one.
Alright, this one. She's
I
pretty, yeah?
mean, it does. It's pretty.
Mhm, mhm.
It's not.
Both.
I mean, it looks like a high school glamour shot. You know what I mean? It's got that
Yeah.
glamour shot to it. So I don't know what's the. If I saw that as her
Mhm,
profile picture in a dating profile, I would not walk
mhm.
out on the left. I
Okay,
would I would assume that that is a glamour shot. She's not
okay.
transforming her face. It is looking a little too perfect, but the one on the left is not so imperfect that I think it's like some of these ladies. You're there's like they're trying to hide their entire face, and
Yeah, they
that's not.
changed their own features somehow.
Yeah, or it's like their face is just covered in blemishes and they're just
Mhm.
covering it all. So
Okay. The eyes. Yay or nay?
I had to assume that this is for like Carnival or something.
Well, maybe some
I would
people are just that fun, though.
I'd kind of go for it.
Okay.
Either one. Yeah, it's fine.
Nice,
Totally
nice.
fine. I don't feel lied to. I feel like that's
Mhm, mhm. And here? More eye?
okay. So she's used the angle there to transform her lips because she
Well,
knows that's not a
yeah.
great feature, and she's also made it to conceal her nose.
Yes, yes. But
She's
we're
got
looking
an
at the eyes
unfortunate
in
nose.
particular here.
Are we just looking at the eyes? Only eyes?
I mean, I did say eyes.
I know. All
Usually
right.
listen.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was a restriction. I thought you were just trying to draw my attention there. I was
Oh.
distracted by the lips and nose.
To be fair, I wasn't very specific, so.
All right. So you only want me to judge the eyes on this one.
On this one, I mean, I feel like with the head tilt, it's kinda obvious that she was obfuscating a couple features, so
Yeah. I mean, this
yeah.
would be a walkout for those other features alone, but let's take a look at those eyes.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's costume makeup, right? Like
Mhm. So
she
you
does a good
see
job.
profile
She did
picture.
what yeah, I mean, this is a walkout, but she did a good
Okay.
job. Bless her heart.
It
Oh, for a
is
second I thought it was a dude. Wait. You can't tell these days, okay? So all this trans stuff has made it so
sometimes you
like
can't, yeah.
it's like women with certain features or just women who are ugly are now considered dudes, which is not helping those women who have that stuff, right? So it's
That's
like
true, and for
you
me,
gotta look at the wrist, you gotta look at the jaw.
I used to have certain issues with that even before the trans thing was really common because I used to prefer more effeminate men, and then it's like, "Oh, wait, that's just kind of a middle-aged lady." Ugh.
All right, but for this lady right here,
Mhm.
totally fine. I think it's
Okay.
fine. Yeah, she's looking good. Nothing wrong with
Alright.
that.
Accentuated. So I clicked for the next one. It didn't go. Here we go. Her nose kinda disappears, it looks like.
Yeah, that's magic, isn't it?
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, I'd probably rather go for the one on the left. So if I was gonna go to a
Oh.
date and I was
Mhm.
expecting the one on the right, I might be somewhat relieved to see the one on the left.
Oh, okay.
I would yeah, the nose is weird, the eyes are weird.
Even the lips kind of, like, she
Yeah, the lips are weird.
Pumps them up a bit a little.
It's all a lot of weird stuff going on this one. There's
Would
a
you
lot of
even
weird.
swipe right on the one on the right, though? Or would that just be a turn off even
Hell
as a
no.
profile picture? Okay.
Hell no. The answer is a hail to the no.
So she'd be
That's
better
weird
off going
looking.
with the left look.
Yes, she would actually.
Okay.
Put a smile on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Be at some event that looks interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm. That's a
It's
face.
fine. Looks fine to me. Why
Okay.
do women have this weird lip color? This
Yeah,
like
I
corpse
don't
lips.
know. I'm not sure.
It's, you ladies with your trends, man.
Yeah, necrophilia is coming in style, I guess. No, I didn't say that.
I want to look like a mannequin. Okay, so
Yeah.
this has happened to me before. When I see
Oh.
the picture on the right, I know what I'm
Mhm.
getting into. I know what I'm
Okay.
getting into.
Okay. Only from experience or because of actually knowing?
Experience.
Oh, okay. Okay. Expand, please.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know what I'm getting. Okay, so I wouldn't feel like I've been lied to any more than is tolerable.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I was gonna say there's
geez.
something negative here, clearly for you.
Okay, I wouldn't. Okay, let's assume that I'm into the thing that's on the right.
That phrasing.
I wouldn't leave on account of what I see on the left, right? I wouldn't. I'd be.
Mm-hmm.
There's a okay. So in this area of all right. So ladies, any ladies who are out there, when we're doing that recalculating thing at the beginning of the
Mm-hmm.
date, if you don't look like your profile picture, you can distract him and force his calculations to go in your favor if you're just really pleasant and nice,
Oh.
and he will
Okay.
probably just forget about it. We don't have great memories.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it's not so egregious that you. So I guess, ladies, if you want to do what you ladies do and just totally mislead us and not feel bad about it, don't know how you live like that, but you do. And you know what? There's got to be a reason for it because
It's
God
hardwired in,
made you.
probably.
So yeah. Oh, all right. If it's not so egregious that he doesn't walk out on you, okay, so he's not walking out on you. He doesn't like look at the picture on the left and go like, "I'm out, boogie, see you."
Mm-hmm.
He sits down at the table.
Mm-hmm.
Be really pleasant, and if he has any interests on his profile, get him to think about that. Like if he says he likes cars or something, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Try to have conversation. So the art of conversation can save it. Men
Yeah.
have egos and it's a bottomless ego actually, and we don't ever get filled. We're a hungry creature that almost never eats.
So
When
stroke
it comes
the
to our
ego.
egos and compliments, don't draw the attention though towards looks, because then he's going to start thinking about looks, and then he's going to start thinking about how you didn't meet his. So just as a distraction, compliments.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. He gets down there, he's sitting there, he's recalculating.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe compliment something that you saw in his profile, or
what about like voice or something like that?
ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
Yeah,
Connect that
that's
to
really
physical features, looks.
Especially if that's a good feature that you have too. Like the lady's got a nice voice, because he's not doing anything about voices.
Oh, that's fair. Mm.
In our times of befuddlement, men can be pretty well misled. I mean, think of all the stories of like men being misled. There's usually an event that throws them into a state of chaos, and then some woman sinks their claws into him, and then
siren song.
Yeah, so
okay,
if you're gonna commit to the bit, ladies, you might as well just go for it. Go full siren, whatever. F it.
Go full siren. Okay, what about this one?
All right, that's a different face. Yeah,
yeah,
she slimmed her face a little too much. Yeah, she slimmed her face a little too much, and it's most of the mouth area that she's done. I mean,
yeah, a little bit of the nose, but
that's true. It might be the angle of the distance that
it could be, yeah,
taken of it. So,
because look at the shirt, it is differently seen.
Okay, I'll try to take that into account.
Yeah. I feel like it's fairly clearly
go ahead.
the same. I was just gonna say, I feel like it's fairly clearly the same overall. Yeah.
I don't like the way that she slimmed her face. That would probably like the cheek. I don't know what to call it, cheek shadow. I don't know what you can call it.
Blush, I think.
She slimmed her face and made herself look like a real cute. On the left, she's like real normal. Nothing wrong with normal. But I would feel a bit misled. I don't know if this would be a walk. This one probably wouldn't be a walkout. If anything was to cause me a walkout, it'd be the eyelashes.
Yeah,
for
like
some
I said, I
reason.
don't understand why the big eyelashes are so popular.
Well, I was saying she did a good job with the eyelashes, actually. Like, go back
Oh,
one
really?
again.
Sure,
Go back
yeah.
one again.
The
There's
eyelashes,
yeah, that's
really?
not terrible. It's a bit much, but it's
I
not.
feel like it's very feathery a lot.
It is very feathery. Dude, thick eyelashes like look like
Mhm.
butterflies on your face, and it looks really
Yeah.
weird to us.
Yeah.
So anyways, maybe your mod is gonna vary. That's just my preferences, right? If we want to do it, really
Right.
have it out. If I wanted to have it out, we'd
Mhm.
get first off, I'd pay for StreamYard so I could have 11 guests, and then you have like a panel of like 10 dudes, and we'd all have to just vote. That'd probably
Oh,
the best way to make this scientific.
who
Someday
would
we'll
you
make that
do?
happen. Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah, those are fun. Okay, this one.
I remember seeing this one. Okay.
Mhm. Looking at her hair, I don't know if she, like, darkened her
Jeez.
skin or if it's just that the right side is a bit darker in lighting.
Yeah, I think that she's doing some lighting stuff here, so I'm
Yeah,
gonna
because
try to take it
her
into
hair's
account.
darker in there instead more auburn instead of
Okay,
just red.
the one on the right is presentable, not
Mhm.
misleading.
Mhm.
That's not a walkout.
Okay.
Not a walkout. Second off, the one on the left is pale, which I like.
Yes.
It's not a walkout. Um,
Okay.
yeah, this is fine.
So
A bit
pale
much, but
women can be, even preferable for some?
oh yeah, for
It just
sure.
blows my
Like
mind.
a lot of guys like paler women. Again,
Really? A lot?
you ladies, as soon as you have an attribute naturally, you'd want to have a different attribute. So you end up becoming like a crappy version of the thing that you're not. Whereas if you just focused on being the thing that you are, you'd
Mhm.
probably be like top 10 percentile of
Huh.
that thing. Like instead of
I don't know. Paleness was played down and made fun of so much around me that I just assume most if someone prefers it or likes it a lot, they're an outlier in my
that
mind.
might be a perception thing on your part because first off, you're going to be more perceptive to criticisms of things that are you. Second
Fair,
off,
fair, yeah.
you're only going to hear the people who make us fuss about it. So you're not getting an actual sample size.
Mm,
Probably if you did
okay,
a
yeah.
poll of your high school, you'd probably be like 50-50 or something.
Well, I mean, to be fair, we had a significant emo population. That's where I found myself, and you kind of went ghost white there, so.
Men's here's another thing about men that a lot of I almost said like that you women don't understand. But it is
Yeah,
you
yeah.
women don't understand. Men's beauty objective sorry.
Mhm.
Men's idea of what is beautiful to them is rather objective and not subjective to social whims. Most men do not build what they consider to be attractive
Mhm.
on what everyone around them
The
thinks.
fads,
So
the
even if there
trends.
is a big emo thing going, a guy's either going to like pale women or he's not. Even if there's a bunch of emos around, right? If you're just
Mhm.
a pale woman who like wears pink, like as a normal woman, I don't
Mhm.
know, not emo. In other words, I'm saying so you're not conflating yourself with that social group. You're going to be free of the judgment of that social group because men
Huh.
don't build their beauty standards on social cues. Again, like women are creatures of expectations. All women seem to care about is what everyone else is doing and what everyone else
Yeah,
thinks. Men
it's a
men have
problem,
no
but
men have no conception of that.
okay, good to know.
Yeah. I Men will like weird stuff. I was into the not pretty girls when I was in high school. Like I would tell guys which girl I liked and they were like make fun of me.
I had
Uh
something similar, but only because I went for, like, nerdy looking guys who were kinda, at sometimes, more effeminate, whereas
I
my
definitely make fun of you
friends
for that.
yeah, my friends went for more masculine type guys, but, you know.
Friends might have been right on that one.
They were, I'm coming around finally. Took till my late 20s, but I'm getting there.
Now I liked girls who I was not. I was very much like I guess if I was going kind of cheesy, I'd say I was an inner beauty kind of guy. I liked women who were
Oh,
kind
okay.
and who
Mhm.
were treated me nice. Now
Aw.
one might think that I'm sort of a pick me guy back then. That I'll just go with whatever girl treated me nice. Probably a lot of truth to that.
Mm.
And I still am that though, even
Is
though
that
I'm
so bad, though?
not really. No,
Yeah.
that's why I'm so decisive. It's just like boom, we'll make it work.
Yeah, that's
A lot of
it.
dedication will make
In
something
people.
work, even if it's not a perfect fit.
Yeah, I wish more people had that attitude. But even sometimes I fail to live up to that sort of attitude despite that I wish it was more existent around.
That's why you just make a arbitrary goal, and then that's realistic, and then just
Mhm.
hell or high water, you make it there. So I
Mm.
always wanted to be able to do 50 push-ups, and
Mhm.
when I started doing push-ups, I was able to do about 10. I just
Mhm.
kept doing push-ups every night until maybe 6 months to a year later. Because I would just
Mhm.
add 5 every time I could. I would try, like, and my arms would hurt so much that I would just collapse. chin hits the ground. No, like the kind of collapse where you don't see it coming because your muscles are actually just that fatigued. And I
So,
would add 5
uh-huh.
as much as I could, which is what my uncle told me to do. And then eventually I just worked my way up to 50. And I was boom, done.
It's
Just
interesting to me
dedicated.
because you and one other guy that I've known in the past, are the only people I've met with that sort of mentality of you just do it. And like with the workout stuff, you do it until you literally can't do it anymore. Or with other stuff, you just make a decision, you stick to it. And I'm going to connect this back to
Oh,
Asianness
sure.
because my ex, well, the guy I'm speaking of was my ex, or is my ex. He was Taiwanese. And it's just interesting to me that the only times I've encountered this mentality was with Asian men.
Yeah, the Westerners are weak. We're going to take over. Sorry.
Oh,
Affirmative action is gone, so we're taking over the universities
if that's
next.
a promise, maybe I'm not that upset about it. Okay.
Oh, she looks the same. That's lovely.
Overall, yeah.
Yeah, it looks. I mean,
Mhm.
those are natural eyelashes.
I'm
Wait,
not sure.
is antes means after?
I think it's
De,
before.
Depois? Depois?
Antes de
Antecedent? I don't know
pouvoir.
another anti word.
Well, I know, like in French, the word for before is avant,
Oh,
avant, and then, well, they have it different for after. It's après. But I don't know Spanish, or at least not that well. I assume this is Spanish. I could be wrong.
well,
But
either way, it looks like the one on the right is after because there's some skin
yeah,
makeup on there.
yeah, exactly.
Damn, she's pretty cute. Either way,
Okay.
guys
Good
like
look.
a little bit of chin, by the way. A lot of
Really?
there's a funny thing is that the women who
Yeah.
tend to be the most attractive have a bit of
Mhm.
testosterone, a bit above average
Mm,
testosterone,
right.
which develops things like your chin.
Mhm.
And so if you look at like a picture of Selma Hayek, she's a pretty good example. She has some masculine features,
Mhm.
which accentuate and make her look really attractive. Because the most feminine face would be like kind of very round and
Yeah,
pleasant.
soft.
Yes, we like a little bit of
Okay.
angles. So
Interesting. All right.
speaking of
Yeah.
angles, I mean, okay, it is a bit
Mhm.
much. So this is the thing: is it's not about the amount; and it's not about the intent because intent is a
Mhm.
thing that's made up. It's just in your mind, right? But
Okay.
the I guess purpose,
Mhm.
role,
Mhm.
function of the makeup. It's not about the amount; it's about the function. And there is a lot of makeup in this picture, but its function has not been to like conceal. Now,
Not entirely.
there's nothing on the right picture that a good tan wouldn't do 70% of.
Mhm.
So
Not
it's
everyone
mostly
can
the
access
tan,
a tan though.
the sun.
Yeah, I mean, some people don't tan, some people can't get enough sun.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not a deal breaker either way. She looks fine. I think she looks
Oh,
fine in the left picture. Yeah, she
I
looks
I
fine.
think so too, actually.
She
I
looks
kind of
kind of
prefer the
young.
left, but
Yeah, she looks like Greta Thunberg's prettier stunt double. Um, anyways,
yes. Oh, and this is the final, just a whole bunch we can look at paired to each other.
these are all tastefully done.
Yeah?
Um,
All of them?
except for the bottom right one. That's a bit much.
What about the bottom left? Going raccoon.
I mean, we know that that's not really what her face looks like, so it doesn't
Well, we
feel
know
like
about the bottom right
okay.
as
So
well.
in terms of like how much, yeah, in terms of how much
Mhm.
is too much, I guess the
Mhm.
two questions would be like, would you want to swipe right on the right picture anyway, and then would you feel betrayed if you showed up and the left picture was there? Um,
Mhm.
you ever seen Blade Runner?
No, I haven't seen a lot of things that
Okay.
most people
Any,
have.
anybody who's watching this, probably knows what I'm talking about. The weird gymnastics android replicant. She looks just like that. No, that'd be a nah
Mm.
for me.
Okay,
Yeah,
but the
no, there's
top
two.
2?
Top two are like sorry, the top left probably has the most tasteful amount of makeup. Quite
Yeah.
lovely. Top right,
Mhm.
a little bit much, but okay. She's
Mhm.
looking like a Sears catalog from 1987. That's fine. Not that I would know about Sears catalogs from 1987.
Mhm, mhm.
The bottom right's a little bit much. That's very costumey. It's like, am
It's
I
almost
going to your
mime.
ballet recital? So it?
I said it was almost like a mime.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. She's there for theater. The one on the bottom
Mhm.
left looks like a high school girl. Like high school girls will put a lot
Mhm.
they'll put a certain amount on their face, and then they'll like pick one feature out and just blast it to hell. And this one, she decided to do her eyes.
I'm
Very gothic.
thinking back.
Very,
Yeah, I guess you're right about that.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's no sense of balance when you're young.
Well, no, you're figuring it out.
All right. So
Yes.
is that all of them?
That's all of them. That's the grand finale.
We did it.
We did it.
What'd you think? Did you learn anything new? Any surprises?
Oh, yeah, I learned a lot new, I feel like. I'll have to definitely I feel like it's all gonna hit me more later when I'm really, like, have time to think over it. Like, it's still processing right now because there was actually quite a bit of things I didn't expect to hear. It's like, huh.
Another advantage that Easterners kind of have
Yeah.
is that in having a large household,
Mhm.
everyone can get someone else's opinion. So the
Yeah.
daughter who's getting ready for a date, or maybe putting up a dating profile or something, I don't know,
Mhm.
can ask her dad, "What do you think?" And the dad is going to tell her exactly what he thinks, and it's going to be the truth. And she
Is
doesn't have
he?
to learn this the hard way at the age of 30.
Oh, dang.
Oh yeah, do you know anything about Asian? I'm going to send you a video of like an Asian dad. It's pretty
My
funny.
ex was an Asian dad, but his kids were young.
I mean like Asian, like fresh off the boat. He will tell his daughter that she's getting fat.
Oh.
You're so
Okay.
fat. You're getting fat. You doctor yet? No dating till you married. Exactly. That's the
Okay.
and okay, if even it's not your dad, get your brother, little brother, big brother. They will also tell you. They have no filter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So you get a various opinions from your family members. Your family members typically have your best interests at heart. Just biologically, they don't want to see you suffer.
Right.
Even if your big brother is beating you up, as soon as some other kid on the block comes to beat you up,
Well, it's
something
different
activates
then.
in him. Yeah, exactly. It activates. He's going to go whoop their butt.
Yeah.
So same thing. He might give you crap and be like, "Ha, you're making me look like a clown." But then as soon as he hears someone making fun of you, he's going to just go in there and sort it out. And he's going to not steer you terribly wrong. It's like, "Hey, big brother, I'm having some trouble with this. What do you think? Can you give me a real opinion?" And he'll give you some crap because that's what brothers do.
Right.
And then typically they will then tell you the truth. It's a little too much.
Okay.
And I guess so hopefully what everyone learns from a segment like this is that you have to solicit honest opinions. And to solicit honest opinions, you have to have access to people who are willing to give you honest opinions.
Right. You also have to be able to take the honest. I know, for example, for me, my older brother was the one who was and still mainly is able to give the most honesty. And for a long time, it was a bit brutal for me. It was difficult for me to take, even though I know he meant well and all that. So luckily, I was able to adapt to it, and now it's like, okay, I can work with this. But for a long time, it's like, oh, no, why'd you say that? That hurts. I'm sad now.
Also, the parents are usually useful for it because the mom's been through it.
No.
Well,
not mine, but I had a tomboy of a mom. I have a tomboy of a mom, so.
Yeah, it's tough right now because the whole trust apparatus that men have for women has eroded. I mean, again, the red pill guys are not wrong. They're just being total women about the facts that are at hand. That what used to be really easy to get away with like 30 years ago is now impossible to get away with. And men are on high alert. And it's not just getting married for any man right now is not a win in a materialistic sense. They have to have something that's transmaterialistic mindset, which is rare to find these days.
It is, sadly.
But luckily, it's also rare for him to find someone. So, you know what I mean? So the dating pool is just smaller.
I mean,
it's
in
not
theory,
harder necessarily.
There's supposedly
I don't know.
so many people who are seeking this sort of stuff, but we can't find each other. I don't know. It's been difficult.
It could come down to like what is a deal breaker to another woman would be acceptable for you. So,
but how low can you put your standards, though, is the thing.
I'd say the standards have to be lower. It's just something that would be a deal breaker. Like if he had different politics. Well, it's just a bad example because politics
I was going to
is
say
a pretty indicator. Let's say, I don't know, he's way into sports. Like he just shouts defense and likes to have his football on a Sunday, right?
That's pretty normal.
That's not a
though.
low standard. It's just a thing that might have been a deal breaker for a lot of ladies. It's not for you, or
Huh.
maybe he likes to build drag race cars, or maybe he lives out in the country, or maybe he's I don't know what other
These
deal
all
breakers
sound
are
good
there
to
for
me,
women.
but
I mean, what would be a normal deal breaker? Well, that's exactly it. Like, what would be a normal deal breaker for a lady? I don't know. It isn't a low standard.
well, that's the
Right?
thing. I don't know. Like, I didn't really think of it as. That's why in my mind it's I don't know, different, I guess. Like, I don't know what deal breakers exist other than standard wise.
Something to think about. Because usually, if you want to make gains in a market, you go lateral.
Mhm.
Don't go up or down.
Mhm.
You think laterally. That means go
Okay.
side to side.
Yeah.
So dig deep into your own prejudices and figure out which ones you can dispense with and which ones are indispensable prejudices.
Mhm.
Uh,
What if
put it
it's
that
one
way.
where it's like has to do with physical appearance though? It's like, he's just not easy enough to
Depends,
look at.
depends on how important that is to you. If
Hmm.
it's important enough to be alone forever, then there you
Well,
go.
what if it's not, but also at the same time, you don't want to feel like can't look at this guy while we're getting into it, making babies.
That's why you got a bag. I don't just double bag them there. Just whatever yours, whatever is.
Double bag my groceries, double bag my man. It's all good.
I mean, it depends on how ugly it is, right? So,
Yeah, it
I
does.
mean, is it ugly because of lifestyle, or is it ugly because of
Because he
just
was born
nature?
that way, and it's just
Yeah.
unfortunate that men aren't as often as nice looking
I
as
mean,
women.
it depends on how stringent you are, right? So if you're pretty
Mm.
stringent, then yeah, you're gonna have some trouble.
What if you can't help but be stringent?
What standards you have are usually mental, but I don't know. I can't tell you your business
Hmm.
on that.
Why can't
I
you? You're
would say
supposed
that
to fix it all. You're a guy.
my fix it all is that
Mhm.
do something to damage your eyes so you don't have to see as much. Like, get really blurry eyed. If you wear glasses,
Uh,
take them off. Get in the habit of taking them off. No,
uh,
like for my advice to you, if you want
mhm.
advice,
Yes, please.
if you got nothing else better going on,
Mhm.
give it a shot. When I say
Really?
give it a shot, as in like take them on a date or two, have a date or two,
Mhm.
and see
Or
if your
2?
opinion changes. Yeah, why not?
Well, what if the
One
first one isn't
bowling and
great?
one bowling and one visit the Steak and Shake. I don't know.
Oh, I miss Steak and Shake. We recently lost most of ours, but that's off topic. Um,
Yeah. Well, as I'm saying is you can't knock it until you've tried it really, and maybe you might be able to get
mm,
past it if there's other redeeming qualities. Like it's okay,
interesting.
so if you got nothing else going on, you should just be
Mhm.
trying stuff
Mhm.
and seeing like if let's say I don't like coconut. Like when I was a
Mhm.
kid, I didn't like coconut.
Yeah.
It's like if I'm trying to broaden my horizons, maybe I just try coconut again. And maybe it's a little better if there's some chocolate in it, or maybe it's like better if it's on a banana split or something like that. Maybe
Mhm.
there's a context in which coconut is acceptable.
Okay. Trial
But
and
I would
error, I
say
guess, but
if you have nothing else going on, then you have no excuse not to be trying. That's what I'd say. Like,
That makes sense, but I
yeah, you're
don't.
throwing away fish that you can't necessarily afford. If you want to ever find somebody,
Mhm.
do less. I guess there's a certain amount of accepting and rejecting ratio you should have.
Yeah.
So if you're not accepting anybody, then you shouldn't be rejecting anybody. I guess I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to be realistic. Okay,
Mhm.
so you
Yeah,
wouldn't
I
be the first
mean
lady you would be the first lady who ever married a dog faced dude, right?
mm.
So if that's important enough to you to forego
I
everything
mean,
else, then it's worth it
dogs
to
are
you, and then
cuter
don't feel bad about
facing.
your decision. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is be decisive.
I'm not good at that, though.
Yeah, well,
Gotta work on I say gotta
pick,
work on that. I'm not sure I've developed any ability in that so far.
you're gonna have to be decisive if you want to get any results. At some point, you're gonna have to cash out and be like, "That's the hand I'm playing with. We're
Mhm.
going with it." Because if you'll always just be in perpetual, maybe there's another. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, what if a woman decides on one, but then, like, she made her decision, but he's not compliant?
What does that
But
mean?
that means, like, in her head, there's not really any moving beyond or otherwise necessarily, but she can't
And it was
convince
never a
him.
possibility. It was never a possibility to begin with. Then
Oh, so that's
you're just
just
finding out. Sometimes you find out in dating that this guy was not a prospect after all, which is fine. You know, not every Not every shovel full of dirt's gonna have a gold nugget in it, right?
Sure,
Just
but
gotta
when
keep shoveling.
when you want him,
Yeah,
it's not fun.
want is a sin, I would say. I would say it's actually just a straight up sin.
That's
Because
an
it's your
interesting
will
one,
over
yeah.
God's will at that point, right? Like do
Yeah,
as thou
I
wilt.
guess that would be, huh?
Do as thou wilt is basically the satanic credo. So
Yeah.
sometimes working with what you got is actually a way that you show some fealty and faith in God.
Hmm.
Now, if it's not worth it to you, then don't do it, right?
Right.
But if you're like putting your own desire over anything else, like you've got,
Mhm.
this is a thing that guys do too. Like a lot of
Okay.
guys will do. They'll build and craft a woman who is perfect, and
Yeah.
then any woman who falls short of that, they're just like,
Mhm.
"No, man, I'm waiting for the right. This is not the woman I'd marry."
Right.
But the thing is, a lot of guys can actually just get away with never marrying, right? It's not as imperative to our
Yeah.
sense of worth, and like a guy can just never marry and he'd be fine. Like
Yeah, I
it's
guess.
not
But,
keeping us up at night. No, it's not. Yeah, I mean we get used to it.
hmm.
And it's not like it has like a big ache in us because we can go out and become father figures to other people, to other
Well,
guys out there.
arguably, women could do the same, but it doesn't feel the same way.
No, it's not. Yeah, for women, it's about actually having the birth, having the child, having that
It
being
is.
yours. For men,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, this kid is 12 and he needs guidance, so I will mentor them.
Mhm.
That's how it goes. That's why one dad on a block can pretty much be the whole block's dad, but everyone has one mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it
Hmm.
goes. It's a biological system that was developed because the fact that
Yeah.
that's just how it goes. Most
Right.
guys wouldn't make it very far, so
Yeah.
you kind of need a guy to be the dad for a whole bunch of people. Um,
Right.
so
Hmm.
yeah, if your own desire and your own preferences aren't really matching up with reality, then that's a problem with you, and you need to
Yeah.
update your preferences
Been
and
working on that.
don't confuse preferences and standards.
Okay.
I mean, if he's really just not.
Mhm.
Also, if you just look at a guy and you're turned on, that's also kind of a problem. Like nobody should be super sexy to you or like, oh, I need
Yeah,
that.
I
And then
wouldn't
you
say
look
it's
at it.
like that,
That's
but
lust,
there's
right?
some where it's like I wouldn't wanna hug him or kiss him because, nah, ew.
No, yeah, it's fine. I mean, again, as I said, like if it's worth it to you.
Hmm.
But that's why you should be out there pounding the pavement, getting more prospects. And we call it a sales. We call it a sales funnel.
Mhm.
We look at this thing. I'm just gonna pull up
Okay, yeah.
sales funnel graphic. Gotta be a graph. There's got to be a graphic out here.
I mean, I would think so. Google has everything, right?
Let's see if that works out.
Ooh.
Okay, this is a sales funnel. Let's see if I
Mhm.
got a good.
Sass.
Yeah, so if you're going to use the analogy of like a dating market, then you might as well just go full for it, and
I
then
mean, it
think
is
of,
a sort of market, yeah?
oh gosh, just load up the thing. Well, sure, copy thing, right? Go there. I'll forget.
Okay.
Well, I'm just going to zoom in. How about that?
Yeah, I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
whatever works, I guess, at this point.
Okay,
Mhm.
so your simple funnel. You need to drive
Mhm.
traffic. Okay,
Mhm.
free trial. That's kind of like a date.
Okay.
And here, self close. I mean, that's a pretty much you've closed the deal.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
You've gotten married. So this is the
Mhm.
very simple funnel.
Seal the deal, yeah.
Yeah. So driving traffic, see how it's wider, really
Mhm.
wide,
Yes.
driving lots of traffic, meeting lots of people, not in the context of a date, just meeting people up.
Mhm.
Friend groups are really important for this too.
Mhm.
Let's say if you have a group of people that like to go hiking and you cycle people in and out a lot, like, oh, I got a new friend, he's coming over, he's got a new friend. Just being friendly. Like this is just basically just means having friends, which is not a bad thing. Have
No,
lots of
it's not.
friends.
Just
Step one,
finding
have lots of them.
friends to have this
Yep.
sort of yeah.
Go find them. It's not easy, but you get it done.
Hmm.
Lead magnet. All right. So I don't know all these things off the thing because I worked in sales and I had a mentor and I
Mhm.
left sales about 2 years.
Yeah.
But anyways, you're trying to now pull those sales in. So you got traffic, people just looking at you. Here you're getting some
Mhm.
interest, right? So this might be you
Right.
doing that pop thing or whatever, or
Mhm.
hitting like
Mhm.
this is you just talking up the clerk or whoever.
Okay.
Nurture is now you're kind of bringing out prospects of a date. Like, oh man,
Mhm.
I'd really like to go out to this place. This place is
Mhm.
nice. So here it is, hello, then here it is, hello, you're kind of cute, or hello, ain't I looking cute? Now it's like, hello, I should sure like a date. That'd be nice to have a date. Here, engage, like, now we're on the date.
Ooh.
Here's develop is like, oh, are we something? Are we boyfriend, girlfriend? What's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it's like, once you're doing the assisted close, like, then it's like, okay, are we married now? Like, are we, where are we going with this?
Mm-hmm.
So marriage. So your sales funnel, lots of prospects.
Mm-hmm. You just
If you ever
narrow it
have
down.
one, if you ever have just one prospect, active prospect at a time, that's not enough. You'll never,
Interesting.
from a mathematical standpoint, you could never make a sale. You'd go out of business if you only had one prospect. You're getting lots of people, you're meeting lots of people, you're trying to get lots of people interested, as many as you can, because the funnel narrows down as you go.
Right.
And down here, you're gonna have one.
Okay.
So one, let's say it's one, and then the thing before it's going to be 5 times more, right? So develop is like you've dated 5 different people to get to that one marriage. Okay, well, you've engaged as in you've had a date with 25 people. Okay, and you've kind of talked up and whatever with 125 people.
Yeah.
And it just keeps going and going and going.
Okay, I gotcha.
So if your numbers, if you want to get that one in the end, you have to have a massive funnel just to get that one. When I was going and selling semiconductors, it would be, I might visit 20 customers for every one that actually bought something.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's pretty good. That's normal. We got paid a lot for that.
Okay.
So it's your answer to whether or not, stop sharing this. The answer to whether or not you should be talking to and engaging with more people, the answer is always yes. The answer is always yes until you've sealed the deal.
Okay.
Or until you have someone who's exclusive engagement with interest of marriage.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm saying there is whatever you're doing, you need to do more of it and more of it and more of it. And that's why the discipline thing is important, because it's not about going out there and hitting it hard and go big or go home, because that'll burn you out. It's about doing a little bit more every day, just like with my push-ups. I started out at 10 and I got up to 50. I went from not even qualifying in the Marines to being in the upper level of points. I don't know what the number. Just going to look up a thing real quick.
Okay. Go on. Wow.
Feel free to vamp while I'm doing this.
I wish I had more on my mind I could just spit out right now, but I was not prepared to have a moment to just spew words out live.
So that's your 34 push-ups completed in 2 minutes or less. Yeah, that can be right. That must be the minimum.
You're like, too easy.
I want to max that. Always max it.
Mm-hmm.
Found a really good video on how to do pull-ups.
Oh, yeah?
The problem is people try to just do a pull-up. That's kind of like another analogy to what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So you're trying to, I need to find a husband. That's like trying to do a pull-up from nothing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a 5-minute video on YouTube of a guy showing you exercises that build you up to doing one pull-up.
Mm-hmm.
So like the first one is you're just at a door frame and you sort of lean back and just pull yourself to the door frame.
Mm-hmm.
So you just pull yourself to the door frame. And it's really easy, but you got to do like 3 sets of 30, train yourself up. And then you work on an inverted row. So you're now like leaned back.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're pulling yourself up. It's not a pull up fully. It's like just part of your weight. And then only after doing like 3 sets of 25 of those are you ready to do a single pull up. So in other words, you have to build up to being able to do all this stuff.
Well, so what exactly would be the equivalent then for one who is trying to find their spouse or whatever? Like, what is the building up other than just casting a wide net?
Okay. Yeah, you're asking me the question of why are people not getting married as much? And the simple fact of it is that people are not social anymore.
That is true too, but
that's the top of the funnel I showed you. They just don't have it. They're not social. If you are not social, you will not be successful. in relation and reliably successful. You might get lucky.
Right.
Like my wife isn't very social. I'm the social one. I found her and I was like, that'll do.
Right.
Pick that up.
I'll
Turns out,
take one.
and over the course of dating her, like within about a year, I knew she was marriage material, and I was going to marry her. That was about it, right? Because I'm decisive, and when I like what I see, I get it, right? So most people are not social, and unfortunately, they also confuse having an online life as being social. None of that shit counts. It's very rare. There are some success stories,
Right.
sure, but don't confuse those with reality. That's not reliable, because the thing is that funnel of getting eyes on you is so touch and go. It's so small, right? Like every hit in the online sphere is maybe like 1,000th of the hit in real life. Like, let's say somebody on Twitter just says hello to you.
Right.
Like you make a post and they say that's cool, or they like it. Let's say they like the post.
Yeah. Minimal. Yeah.
Okay, let's say you say something in real life. You're at a coffee shop or a library, and you say something, and someone says, "Huh, that's a good point."
Yeah.
How much more significant is that second interaction than the person just hitting like? Yeah, that's a conversation is about to start. There's actual engagement.
There's a whole face.
The whole face to face. They're seeing you. You're a real person to them, not just an algorithm. So yeah, it's not gonna. People think that being online is a social life. It's not. All your stuff should be in real life. Everything else is unreliable. It's just not reliable enough.
Yeah.
People also put up a front in online. And people also are kind of nastier online than they are in real life.
They are, though. Nice. The trolls are just like the most obvious example, but
oh yeah. So the answer to getting to where you have a spouse is you gotta with discipline build up your social life, your real social life, until you're successful. And again, before, like you were saying, like, oh, what if you're dedicated your whole life and you never get lucky? It's like, well, then God has willed it, right? But if you don't try, then you're never going to know what that will really is. So if you want to have no regrets, I mean, unless you have something better in mind to do, then you might as well be just doing the best thing you got, even if it's not successful, even if it never works. Like, unless you got a better idea.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I suppose so. Yes.
Yeah. So that's the attitude you should have. Like, oh man, should I keep doing this? I haven't been getting results. Like, do you have anything better to replace it? Because if your answer is just to go home and give up, then yeah, that's not gonna work out. That's not a realistic thing.
How much of it do you think, and this is like society wide, I suppose we could say, would just be a much needed attitude shift?
Think about what you can do for others and not what others can do for you. To sort of ape off of a Kennedy saying. You should be there you should care about people if you want them to care about you.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, like, I guess what I'm trying to get at is that this is sort of a mentality that a lot of people would probably be better to adapt, I suppose, and that would maybe start solving a lot of the issue if it could happen. Yeah?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So where this attitude of mine here leads to is that when you ask yourself, what can I do for other people? You invariably think, okay, maybe real life is actually the place to do that and not online.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you ever feel a sense of community online, you should quit the community immediately and going back to real life. Because there's no such thing as an online. Yeah. There's no such thing as an online community. It's also fake, and it's with strangers, and you'll never.
And it's an echo chamber that doesn't properly balance you all out, so it gets really unhealthy really quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no ground reset. There's no like, hey, let's like the reason why they have the phrase "touch grass" is just like, hey, get a touch of real life to ground you.
Go ground yourself again.
Exactly. So it's like, so I was looking at my sheep going in front of my window over there, and I was like, that one, and one of them was looking kind of skinny. I was like, just taking a look at her. I was like, she's not getting too skinny, is she?
Yeah.
Because I got another field I can release them into to graze. But
yeah.
No, it turns out the rest of her, I think, is just getting kind of fat. So she has like little skinny legs.
Oh.
Like, if you want the attitude change, you have to also just never give up. Like, Westerners give up so damn easy. It's pathetic. Like if I picked the degree, first off, when I said like this is going to be my degree, I just said, is this worth it? Like, or is it worth it? Because the answer is yes. Once you've started, the answer is always yes.
Okay.
It's always worth it to continue. I asked myself, is this going to be good for me? And can I feasibly do it?
Right.
Can I actually accomplish it on paper? And then after that, it's full dedication for 4.5 years. I probably worked like 100 hours a week.
Yeah.
Being an engineer, and did a lot of other stuff too. Yeah, that oh, there you go. Got myself mirrored. That right there is a patent. I have 4 of them on the wall.
Ooh.
Can't quite see them.
That's nifty. Oh yeah.
Here, hold on. Just jump.
Oh.
There you go. Now you can see more of me. All those were extracurricular. I didn't have to get those. I wanted more qualifications for my job, stuff to put on my resume.
Right.
And it was just really good for the company to have patents in that stuff. I was doing stuff like that when I was in college. I founded an engineering design club, first to siphon money from the SGA because they just give you free money if you have a club. I was like, I want free money. And then once people started joining it, I was like, how can I educate these people? How can I help them out? What's in their best interests? And we have to, instead of doing anything theoretical. I hate the word theoretical. You just replace the word well in theory or theoretically just with shit I just made up. You know, there's no theoreticals. There's so much empirical data and experience that you can have that you don't need theoretics anymore. Theoretics is like, I'm going to give it a shot, not like I'm going to base my life around it or I'm going to let it sway me in any way. It's like, that's a possibility.
Well, but if you have enough evidence to support an idea, I mean, you could try it at least. Just be ready if it doesn't work to adjust and adapt, yeah?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying is that your theory can start you off, but the feedback that you get to adjust and adapt, that's your experience.
I thought you meant just throw theories out completely.
Theories should be given the weight that they deserve, which is very little.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, it's enough to say I want to try something. Like theoretically, I might like rock climbing. Then you go out and you try it, and it's like, okay, never mind. Like theoretically, this person might be a good partner. All right, I'm going to try it out, get some data. Basically, the first thing when you say is when you have a theory and it sounds like something that you want and makes sense, your first impulse should be to test it.
Yeah.
And then change your assumptions based on that. So, the theory of relationships and dating is that people need to get real experiences. That's the main thing. And if they're not getting them, then they're basing their prejudices on nothing, which is why so many guys who are like red-pilled manosphere, they have so little actual experience with women. Like you kind of tell when you're watching their podcasts or shows. Like it's like it's like where you get like this version of women that you get. It's like they all think that it's these Miami bimbos are just representative of all women at all times.
I think I've seen that a little bit, and similarly with feminists, when they talk down about like stay-at-home moms or proper wives and all that, like they're talking about a lifestyle that no one actually lives.
Correct. And like all these women, they say like, oh, all these housewives are on drugs. I was like, no, women drug usage by the actual data is way up than it's ever been.
Yeah.
And then they're saying like, oh, women used to get committed to mental asylums back in the day. You could just get rid of a wife if you did that. And I was like, well, now you have tons of women who have actual like serious mental illnesses. Like 1/3 of women have some kind of mental illness. So it's like, okay, now we just have an open air asylum. So
well, but the thing is too. Oh,
go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say the thing is too. Even when they talk about like housework or taking care of kids, they act like it's not really that big of a deal. Like, oh, they're just lazy, just to sit home and do whatever. They just cook whatever. And it's like that's not how it actually is, though. It still is a lot more.
A lot of Asian housewives create catering companies, and it actually used to be that way for like Mediterranean housewives too, like Greek or Italian women.
Right.
Because once they got empty nests, then it's like, all right, what do I do? Well, I've been cooking really nice meals forever. So what do I do with that, right? Like, well, the answer is what you do with that is like you decide that, you know, all right, I could cook for an entire family. I could cook for an extended family. I could cook for an entire like Thanksgiving feast and beyond. I can cook for my church picnic.
Right.
Once you're at that level and people really like it, it's like, well, I might as well charge money for this and do it as a business.
Right.
So
okay. Yeah.
It's an actual skill, right? So
yeah, it is.
That's the thing is like everyone builds their life on theoretics. And then based on a theoretical idea of a career, these people will go in and get into tons of student loan debt and sign their name on the dotted line. Or based on theoretics of like what they think is going to be attractive to them in their own mind, they change themselves or they change their expectations of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, God bless the idiot that just tries stuff. God bless them because they inherit the earth. They're just
They
actually
really do,
just
though.
trying stuff. I didn't think I was going to marry my wife. Like when I first started
Really?
dating her, I was like, this is never going to work out. I'll just have some fun. And it's not like sexual fun because she was very clear she was not into that. And she was like, well, you can take it or leave it. And I was like, I'll just keep it, whatever. I'm not like dating anybody else. We just kept going out and stuff. And the expectations were tempered and all that stuff.
And it just stuck?
Say what?
And it just stuck? Like, or was it a matter of getting so used to each other you didn't even want to go out like to date others at all? You're like, this is good. We'll just keep it.
Well, the thing is, the more you know somebody, the more depth you find to them and the more there is to admire. So if you never really get to that depth, then do you even know somebody, right? And yeah, she's more attractive to me now than she's ever been. And I can't really imagine being with anybody else.
Yeah.
And it's not about just getting used to them, like, oh, you wore in or whatever. No, there's a specific times where it's like, okay, we're moving to the next level because there's something that I've learned about her or something I've experienced with her that put her there. But
well, you grow together too, right?
A little bit. I mean, the most of the growing we did was after we were married.
Okay.
Like doing the rentals and stuff like that because I was a landlord and she helped me out a lot. She did a lot of the work. A lot of the growth is after marriage. People think they're going to grow together before marriage. It's like, no, marriage is just the start. It's not the end. So people think
definitely not the end.
Yeah, it's like people think, oh, I got to do this. Let's go travel to Europe or let's go do this or let's live together or something. It's not necessary.
Yeah.
Like because people are so unfocused, they just want to learn about the whole person all the time, all at once. It's not realistic. That's going to be like a 6 or 7 or 8 year relationship before marriage.
Yeah.
At some point, you just have to say, like, what do I want in a person? What am I willing to? What are my requirements? What do I have to have? What do I need to know?
Okay.
And one of the things that you can know if a guy or gal is good is, are they willing to change to meet your preferences? That's very important.
That sounds almost scandalous by modern terms.
Yeah, that's why modern people are so bad at this. Okay. I'm Asian, so if she's fat, she's got to lose some weight. If I've got an annoying voice, I'm going to go work on my voice. If I am too lazy, I need to learn how to work harder. And what happens is, what culminates is that you become better people.
I was going to say, that sounds like self-improvement.
Yes. Well, that's because self-improvement is considered scandalous to modern people.
Well, yeah. That's true.
Well, so everyone's looking for perfect when really the marriage is just the beginning of the journey, and you're going to work with each other. Because once you find out that other person is adaptable enough, there's not really going to be a whole lot of problems that you're going to run into. The actual getting to know people just requires that you try stuff out. So I tried stuff out and it ended up me being married, which, best decision I ever made and happiest decision I ever made. I was just trying a thing out. Same thing with my engineering degree. I was just trying it out. I had an escape plan to like change my major if I wanted to. It's always good to have an escape plan, right? Like, Until you're married, you're not committed. But people are so terrified of just trying stuff because theoretically it doesn't make sense to them, or what if or they hallucinate commitment where there isn't any.
Oh.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
They'll hallucinate. Like, oh, I don't want to try that because then I'll have to go do this and I'll have to go do that. Like, oh, I don't want to date this guy because then he's going to have to text me. And then maybe, I don't know, maybe if I'm not so into him.
So it's more anticipation than it is like seeing it where it isn't. Yeah.
Well, what's the difference? If the anticipation is false, right? Like if that's not actually how it's going to happen. Because anticipation is like, oh, I'm going to get punched in the face. I'm anticipating the blow. And then I get punched in the face. If I'm like, I'm going to get punched in the face, so I'm going to anticipate the blow. And then I never get hit. And there's no indicator that I was ever going to get hit. I'm just wincing, getting ready to get punched in the face.
Okay, good point.
Out of nowhere.
I'll concede.
Yeah. So people hallucinate expectations. People hallucinate stuff that isn't actually going to happen unless you try it.
Right.
So that's why I'm like, don't be a theoretical person. Be an experimental person. Become an experiment. Become a scientist. Because first off, there's no such thing as a thought experiment. Those are
What? But they're
those
fun.
are antithetical to each other. You can't have a thought experiment because an experiment, the whole point is you're testing your hypothesis, not just thinking about it. A thought experiment is just called math. That's just math. Solving a math problem. So that's not people have such a low standard for what's actually life experience. Okay.
Yeah.
So when I was in high school, by the time I got out of high school, I mean, when I traveled the world, I went to go visit my grandpa in Indonesia. I got to see what proper third world living was like.
Yeah.
I really appreciated America after that. I was an intern at a 3-letter agency for a year and a half because I just happened to live near it, and they had a program, and I listened to it, and I was like, I'll try that. I gave it a try, and I could have had a whole career, and I decided that wasn't for me. Right? I had a clearance and all that stuff. Right? So, because I just tried it. I heard it on the announcements, and I was like, that sounds kind of fun. I'll go check it out. I had to take a typing test and do a couple other things, take a drug test, answer some interview questions, all that stuff, polygraph.
Yeah.
Anyways, just trying stuff out. And I tried out engineering. Like, you're going to get way more mileage out of life if you're just like Forrest Gump. Like, got nothing else better going on, then go do the thing. Go do it. If a dude you're not that into is like, hey, you want to go on a date? Just say yes.
Yeah. If only for the practice experience.
Yeah. You never know what's going to happen.
That's true. You don't know. You can't say
You also don't know if your standards will just change based on the rest of them.
That's very fair indeed. Yeah, that's more accurate than most people are willing to admit.
It's 100% accurate. Your
I had
standards
to
will
learn
change.
it. Yeah.
Yep. So if a guy's like, he's got an ugly face, you don't like it, just date him anyway. You got anything else better going on? Gotta fill that funnel. Fill the funnel. The funnel must be filled. or you were failed. Even if it's crap, even if it's like, I don't really want it. Because you might find out that actually, you know what, this isn't so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So theoretically, there's always a better man out there. That's a danger of theoretics.
Yeah.
Theoretically, there's always a better match for you.
Right. And that's how, especially a lot of ladies these days are lost in the whole soulmate, or I think they call it twin flame now, stuff where like there's the one. It's more twin flame's more extreme than soulmate. I used to be into this stuff for a bit. I still know people who are, but yeah,
that's such a bunch of faff. That's so funny.
Oh, it is though, but it's so sad how much a person is willing to throw away. I say this as someone who did it for a while, just because like, oh no, there's this one person and this will happen, and if I do that, then that, and it's ridiculous, and you miss out on so many amazing opportunities along the way.
Yeah, I don't even feel that way about my wife.
Yeah?
Like the whole
soulmate.
We're soulmates and I can't live without you. Like, I think we are soulmates, yes, but it's not like I feel it like, oh my God, we're soulmates. When I'm near you, I have a spark and I feel like our souls are intertwined and we were destined to be. No, fuck off.
Right.
Like, she's my wife. Like, we work together. We work through problems. We can rely on each other. I love her. I would never want to see her hurt or suffering or anything.
Right.
Like, I would. Like, all the trappings of the thing is, like, the West has this absolute ridiculous idea of what love even is.
Like a fantasy.
Love is not. Sorry, what?
It's like fantastical and not realistic at all.
Yeah, those are super unhealthy emotions to have. If you're like, this person's my soulmate, that's not healthy.
Yeah. Well, I will say too, not too long ago, I saw. Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to say, you should never feel like someone's like your soulmate, your one and only, ever, always. I need them, and without them, I feel like I'm not.
You're not whole.
Complete. Yeah, exactly. You should never feel that way about anybody. That's really weird. Because they might die.
That's true.
Something might happen. Like, what are you going to do? Just become depressed and I mean, you should mourn for sure, but you got to get your butt back up and hit it. Right. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say though. I know not too long ago I saw some video from Ben Shapiro, Daily Wire guy and all that, and he was watching some sort of, or reacting to rather, some sort of dating show. I think it was specifically a Jewish dating show from Netflix or something. And at one point in the episode, it was good. It was really good. I enjoyed it. He mentioned that, and he said it's more typical in the Jewish aspect. I can't say one way or another in that regard, but what he said was that the soulmate thing is still there. However, it's seen differently in that you you enter into union with your spouse, and at that point they become your soulmate in the sense of you're bound together in that union, and you have to keep working together and strive together, and that's just how it is at that point. It's the two of you as a unit rather than, but like it's not like you were destined to be together. It's that you make the commitment and the vows.
Yeah, the whole destined to be together is this like extra biblical nonsense.
Yeah, it's harmful.
And that's why it's just that's why I don't think it's like, oh, it's not the best, or maybe it can go bad. It's like, no, it's a unilateral bad way of thinking of things.
Mm-hmm.
Like once you're married, you are. I mean, it is a partnership, right? It's
Yeah.
and it's a duty and it's an obligation and it's all
Mm-hmm.
that stuff, and you can't really, like, with very few exceptions, get out of it, right? Like you got to
Right.
put it's dedication. Like if you're not dedicated enough to
Right.
like, that's why women should that's why men and women should totally be discriminatory based
Yeah.
on, I don't know, let's say weight. Like
Mm-hmm.
now, if the person's okay with being fat, that's not necessarily that they're not dedicated. Maybe they just have misguided life
Mm-hmm.
preferences, which is
Right.
another thing entirely. But if it's like, oh, I want to lose some weight, but I just never can do it, like that person's gonna give up on the marriage just as easily as they gave up
Right.
on themselves losing weight. It's a lack of dedication. No one wants to marry if someone doesn't have a dedication.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing, is that's what I'm saying too. It's like, even if the dedication results in nothing, it's the fact that you were dedicated that gives it worth.
Okay. The fact that you could keep yourself to it says more
If
than
you're
any success could, I guess.
Yes, if you are looking for results in life and that's what's going to make you complete, you're going to have a very empty and miserable life.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at people who never get those, there's two types of tragedies in the world. The
Yeah.
one where the hero never achieves their dream, and the one
Mm-hmm.
where the hero does.
Yeah.
Two tragedies. One of them is I don't know, I'm trying to think of like a good tragedy. Like one of them is like an Ebenezer Scrooge thing where he's achieved all the money, he's done everything, and he's going over his life of everything
Mm-hmm.
that he ignored along the way.
Right, and it wasn't worth it ultimately.
It wasn't worth it, and because it was about the results to him.
Yeah.
And as someone who's like strives and strives and strives and never makes it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I just saw your private message. We were way over. Sorry. By the way, you can, if
Yeah.
we're going over and you need to leave, just say something. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
we could go. I'm sorry. And you can, by the way, you can show your Substack for sure. I'll put the link in the
Oh
description.
yeah, I've got a Substack at, well, Lady O'Linden. Lady of the Lindens is where I can be found on most things, or Lady O'Linden like Twitter. I'm working on my YouTube and all that. So, yes.
I feel super bad. That was like an hour and a half ago.
It was, but it's okay. We've been having a good chat.
All right, everybody. Can you put in the private chat a link to that Substack?
Yes, I can. Let me grab the
I'll
link
stick it
real
in the
quick.
description.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, good deal. We'll go into backstage here in a second, and then we'll do a debrief.
Okay.
I am super sorry about that.
No worries.
You gotta be.
It happens.
It'd be hilarious if you texted me too. I'll try to. There we
I
go.
didn't, but
Perfect. Okay. All right, Lady O'Linden. Thanks for joining up again. We will have this again sometime, probably next Friday, same time.
Okay.
Hopefully, I'll
Yeah.
actually stay inside the time limits.
We'll see.
But we should definitely. I think what we could do is maybe a show about what what women find attractive about men and what men find attractive about women, because there's a huge disconnect there.
There clearly is, yes.
All right. I'll see you guys later.